pause the music. All right. Oh,
We got the music off.
I also really wonder
yeah.
if we need to go YouTube, the YouTube route.
Oh, let's close this thing.
Our checkers game.
Oh shit.
They don't want to watch our checkers game.
Let me fix
How does that
this.
show up on stream?
Just like another
like a
person.
box from somebody else.
Nobody want to watch that shit.
I'm not even in there. They can't even see it. It just says checkers in the park.
Yeah, we were here
What
playing
happens
checkers.
if I should join? Oh no, it takes over the whole
See
shit.
that shit?
Go ahead and get out of there.
Not leave.
Yeah.
Oh, the
That shit. I'm gonna show y'all. He was getting that butt whooping over here. Checkers in the park.
Ooh-wee.
That's because
Tech, how does Grandpa close this, Tech? I don't have no idea.
There should be a button, Grandpa. The little red button.
Oh, okay, there it is.
There you go.
Here you go.
Things like, how do I close this?
Oh, let me down.
That is wild.
I still didn't exit.
Start something and don't know how to do
Mine
it.
did.
Ain't that about it, bitch?
He said, I'm still stuck. Someone help.
I'm still in here.
It's at
I
the.
need
Let
an
me see.
adult.
Oh, see,
Can
it's
you?
fascinating because Blurred Without Fear, right? They have 104 on their YouTube and like nobody on Twitch. So I just find that to be so fascinating. Like the numbers, because like they have our numbers, our level numbers on Twitch. And I'm just like, okay, so I don't feel as bad. And like, because like Blurred Without Fear, I think the guy has like a million followers, or
What?
he's in the millions, right? No, he's at 99.6K. Light numbers, really. Light numbers.
Yeah,
Like some slight.
Light numbers.
very easily duplicated.
Very easily duplicated, right? And like he obviously saw our drawing streams because he started doing drawing streams. I just want to say that.
Yeah, I
Marcus Brownlee, he hired a black person after we came from that one season. So I just like Blerdimension's be doing that. We be doing things.
We really do influence the culture.
We do really
100%.
influence the culture.
Like,
100%. And so it's just
we're
like
kind of like a shadow organization that kind of like feeds Black Blurred culture.
exactly. And
That's
it's really unfortunate that we have to stay in the shadows and stay with the numbers we have. So it's just we be out there, y'all.
Look, I mean, if they don't want us to have all that power, they might want to start shining a light on what we do, so that we can't move so freely.
So we can't move so freely.
Yeah,
I agree.
We're very dangerous without their
100%.
eyes.
We are.
Discord changed this, or did I mess up? It's cool. Has
anyone looked into
bottom of this.
any AI gaming bots? Like what's that look like?
Not really.
I have no idea.
Nothing really.
I don't really see this stuff like that.
Like what's available for that? Like, I mean, I imagine, they got like co-pilots.
Throw together a quick game on a stream or something. I don't know.
In one, no, I doubt that. We could probably make a sprite run across the screen in one stream.
Right.
if we're lucky. That's it. I don't think we can. But I was I did that. That reminds me that they're putting Halo on Unreal.
On
Did y'all see that?
5.
Yeah.
I did see that.
I saw that shit.
I saw they had like a whole new Halo company was birthed, right?
Oh.
They were like, they say, we kind of say, hey, it's gonna be on PlayStation now. I was like, oh yeah, right.
Yeah, I want us to pull up the gas stations and matching Lamborghinis. Why can't we do that?
I don't want to.
Where did you see this?
That's how you get jacked.
Don't want to do it. Yeah, that's
how you get jacked.
I guess it's called KS. I've never watched this nigga stream, but he's everywhere. KSI.
Yeah.
I'm not being a dummy.
I've never watched, and that's not any shots taken. Like it's just not. I'm sure I'm not his demographic, right? Like, that's not saying like I'm highbrow or anything like that. Like
no, I think it's even younger than you.
Yeah,
exactly. Like I'm just not watching that level of content.
It's the Zoomer age.
Wow.
And the fact that you have children puts you like way out of like your children would be closer to his demographic than you are.
And my children would not be allowed to watch his content. Not anything at you, young man. I'm just saying.
Young man.
Right.
Like,
As he's
Oh my
watching it
gosh.
now, my children can't watch this, but I'll watch it.
I would not let my kids watch. I'm not watching his content at all. I just like he always pops up on my Twitter feed.
Yeah,
I'm like black, and so they always just give me black people on Twitter.
he's huge. He's from the
Yeah,
UK.
he's absolutely huge, and I'm always
That
fascinated
whole
by
group
it.
is just shenanigans. Like they just do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Like
it's the UK version of the Paul brothers. Like
basically.
they're UK.
he actually works with not the
Yeah.
Paul brothers, the KSI is.
KSI and then KSI, Chunk, not Chunk. What's his name? Fuck.
Philly and you talking about Philly and what's his name?
Philly and yeah.
I don't know if they're in the same
They're best
group
friends.
though. Oh, are they?
They work together. They work
Oh,
together
okay.
a lot sometimes. I mean, they collaborate. I mean,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Because what I was seeing is like a lot of those guys, like a lot of that content is kind of like you were saying, like started as shenanigans, started as pranks, started as gaming, kind of like it was like gaming, pranks, and all that other stuff, and then
they start doing the little dating stuff, and they do.
Oh yeah, and some of that's funny, like when they have all their friends in a room, and then you have to say what your friends tell you to say to the date. Like
That sounds
Right,
awful.
what's that version for us? Is that like trying to do our taxes? Like,
Trying to
blindfolded?
version for
Like,
us.
what is that?
and you have to file
Non-existent.
you have to file under the form that I give you, even if it's not the correct form, and we see if you get audited.
I feel like Tech
Oh,
would try
like
to
if you
make
get audited,
somebody commit
like, what is
fraudulence.
that us? Like, how do we? What are we
Ted
doing here?
Ted would try to make me commit fraudulence. I know that for
Yeah,
sure.
he would absolutely
like,
Dick would absolutely.
I would definitely.
So like that's why I'm not. No, I'm
He's
good.
like, Beast, you can absolutely run off your Netflix account.
absolutely. Listen, you only go to jail if you get caught.
Yo, you know what dawned on me? I can write off my comic book purchases because we write about that shit. Like, because we do the pull list, I can legit legally write off my comic book purchases.
Hey,
But
I've
you
been watching
gotta,
this
but you
lady.
gotta pay for
By
it.
the way, if you haven't checked out our pull list, we
You gotta pay for it.
weekly our newsletter. You should definitely catch that.
Oh, facts.
Yeah. I've been watching this lady on taxes though. Watch that lady, because she be debunking all these tax professionals.
Yeah.
Oh,
she's like, yeah, you're not gonna be able to write that off. She's like, yeah.
She was like, yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Like people say, oh, if you use your card for your business, write it off. And people are like, no, that's not how it works. It has to be for business purposes. It can't be, you can't mix personal and business. If you're buying comic books to read and then review, then that's different. But if you're reading comic books as personal, so like you have to like switch from
books for personal use.
Does he look like?
Yeah. That's the whole. That's what Blerd means.
I review it for the nerds, and then I just. That's what I do.
For
we
business,
love you nerds out there.
For business.
We love you, Blerds.
For business.
Absolutely, you guys are great.
Did y'all see that? The DOJ? I don't know. Google got the Alphabet Boys on their ass for a number of things. Like I want to say, Epic is suing them, and they're winning right now. And then the DOJ wants to break up the search stuff for similar reasons as Apple, I think, with the third-party store stuff. But they're winning against Google, and I don't know.
Losing against Apple. I think it's probably easier to beat Google and that kind of stuff too, because they're just so subdivided everywhere. Like,
and they got so much of the internet. Like Apple has their products or whatever, but Google has YouTube, they have search, they have docs, they have Gmail. Like, I feel like they're an easier target to be like
quantum computer somewhere.
Right.
I'm saying, and they have AI, Cloud. And they have AI now.
Yeah, AI.
Oh, you GCP? Like the Apple don't have none of that.
Yeah.
So they want to keep it
easier
in-house.
to pick one.
But when you try to service everybody, that's when you get shafted.
Yeah, and that's also where that's why they often lose to Apple when it comes to the iPhone. So they can make a good product, but because they'll never be able to kind of like replicate that because it's less important to them.
True.
I mean, they got more shit to worry about, but I mean, the
Yeah,
Pixel's
that's what I'm
good,
saying.
but
I don't. I know I have a Pixel. I'm not against the Pixel. I'm just saying you're never gonna be able to replicate the success of the iPhone if you do so many other things. Like, there's no way.
Yeah, I see that.
oh,
Agreed. It's like being like locked in on just one centralized thing versus trying to build everything all at once.
Mm-hmm.
That's
sure.
why I have such a struggle. I try to build everything all at once.
That's what happens to me too. I'll be like, yeah, why don't I? And then I like run out of energy.
And don't build a thing.
Yeah, you're trying to like iterate so fast that you just kind of like,
They just stuck.
yeah. I hate more than anything building things in pieces, but I know that's the only way I can get things done. But it's like you start building it and you're like, this is the worst part. But if you don't build that, then you can't build the fun stuff. And so it's similar with comic drawing, JK. Whenever I want to draw a scene, right, like perspective is necessary, but drawing like the horizon line and then vanishing points and then drawing those
The
lines that
buildings and
connect to the vanishing points
yeah.
and all that stuff to make sure everything looks like it's in the same, you know, universe or the same world.
I should got buy that brush for Clip Studio where you just make the buildings and the
Even then, you still there's still, for me, freehanding is still easier than that because even then, like there's the aspect of like trying to get everything to kind of look like you can get the 3D modeling up, but then now you have to trace the 3D modeling.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? So it's like you can't. I mean, I guess you could probably render it as like a sketch maybe, but like for me, it's just easier to draw it. But that's the worst part of drawing anything. It's like doing the composition part, like
process part.
yeah, like putting in all those extra lines or whatever. And that's similar to programming, right? The worst part is like all the plumbing that you have to do to get everything to.
Isn't it all the plumbing?
Yeah,
like all the plumbing is so annoying.
So that's what I always run into,
really,
and then I lose inspiration.
And securing all the plumbing is very annoying.
Hey, I just know a guy named Tech, and he's gonna secure. Like I'm not going to secure a darn thing. If my stuff
He's
is
got it under control.
Yeah, Tech's gonna take care of that.
See, I want to start like Delisa sent me this one time, like this one video where the woman was just like, I'm just like so tired of being like the responsible one. And I just want to be toxic. Like I just want to do some toxic shit. And that's how I feel sometimes working in cybersecurity. I'm just like, I'm so tired of being the one like change your passwords. I just want to be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like,
and that's how shit gets hacked.
I'm tired of the one being the one like, well, you should probably check your source code again, nigga, because you got creds in there.
And
Fuck it, just do whatever you want.
And that's
like,
how
my bank account now.
That's fine. Right.
Like I just want to do some toxic shit, some developer stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know. I just ship the code. Like Joel was talking about how like he's probably shipped like 7,000 lines of code and stuff like that. And he's like, not once that I care about security, and I'm just like, I want to do that.
That's called being reckless.
Like, I don't want to care about this. This is stupid. Like, you know how many times I get yelled at in a day because someone's just like, well,
reckless and
security.
Disregard
like
of.
Yikes!
I just want to say forget security too. I don't care. No one cares. Users don't care, right? Like users don't care about security or privacy. Like there are select.
Of course, because they didn't make the shit. They don't care. No, if you didn't make it, nobody gonna give it. If that person didn't make it, they don't care what like it is. Now, if they buy something that they either invested in, or if they made it from scratch or whatever, then they're gonna actually care.
Investors care.
Oh no, they do. When they start losing money, they do.
That's exactly the only time in which they care. But they will cut corners 9 times out of 10 to try and get the product release. I digress.
Oh, no. That's the bad ones.
When you decide to be toxic, make sure it's not when I send something to you.
Right.
Absolutely.
yeah.
That's
be the regular
wrong
person.
time.
When I send something to you, just be like, good, and be honest. But or it sucks and do this, but don't We'll be like, yeah, it works. It's fine. It's okay. Leave that.
Oh yeah, here you go. And then
Don't
next
put
thing you
those
know,
in an environment file. Just leave those codes and those credentials right in the code. Yeah.
don't obfuscate it.
You guys do whatever you want.
Don't obfuscate it.
Are people still salting passwords? I don't know. Like, don't salt the password. I don't.
You don't need that.
I don't know.
Is that salt password?
Is that like too old for like security? Like, are they still?
No,
that's a little bit older.
It's bcrypt now. You bcrypt.
Yeah,
I don't know anything about it. When
I
found out about salting,
when you say it like that,
bcrypt.
Oh, here, bcrypt.
Only niggas like him would do that shit, man.
Mm-hmm. That's a very old joke for a very young person to.
Right.
Yo,
I know, right? His kids have aged him another 20 years.
Bruh.
I don't want to hear that from you. Like, hearing words from you make my head hurt.
Oh, you know what? You're right. Maybe my laugh will make it better.
Oh my. What?
I'm missing the joke.
Oh.
Yeah. Tech had a very traumatic moment during our game night playing the finals last week.
Hey, y'all seen your video. Don't worry.
Okay.
JK recorded it complete with villainous laughter.
Matter of fact, I think I do have the link from I sent it to Swab.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. Copy link.
JK, come on now.
No, it's
it was serious.
Quite hilarious.
Oh, okay.
Kristen was dying. Kristen was having a ball. I hope we showed it to his girlfriend too.
Oh my.
That was great.
But,
I was gonna post it on Blur and say historical moments for Blerdimension in gaming.
I don't like you.
And you know, sad part of we kept talking.
I got invited to game nights.
You are right. You just never come.
No, that's not true.
It's
very true. You just never
let me tell you how untrue this is. I have downloaded Monster Hunter Rise, and occasionally I'll just log in and like sit in the lobby waiting for my friends to show up, because they told me they would. They said they'd be there.
Mm-hmm.
They said they'd be there.
That? You can name names.
I mean, they're in the stream.
Oh, they are?
JK, you don't play Monster Hunter Rise, do you?
Sure don't.
Okay. Because they're in the stream. And they were like, oh yeah, I'm definitely going to play that. I was like, are you sure? Because last time, because this isn't the first time, JK. This ain't the first time they tried their ground to be
I know. It's all good.
They pulled that football right from under my foot the first time. And I said, and then I said, surely people who care about me wouldn't do it twice.
Oh,
I get the one time, like it's a mistake. You made a mistake.
Happens to everybody.
So I get the game Monster Hunter Rise. JK, download it. Hey, space ain't free on an Xbox. I'm telling you that right now. It's not.
Did
free.
you pay money for it?
I don't remember. I hope not. I really do.
I think you should demand like refund from them.
Yeah. I think so. I think y'all should split it for me. I'll go check my receipt.
They sure should. Back. Whoever they are.
I
sat there in the lobby.
Whoever said that.
You know, like that 80s meme where like the kid is like waiting for his dad to show up.
Oh man, damn.
Like sitting on the curb.
Damn.
He's just waiting for his dad to show up. He never shows up. He's in there with a baseball mitt in his lap, just like he'll be here any moment.
Myself.
All right, I like this topic. Let's continue with this topic. All right, we found our groove here. Topic of the night is games you download and your friends don't play. So first one, Monster Hunter
Rise. I just knew I was gonna play with my family. I just knew it. I was like, they're gonna be here for me. And see, the problem wasn't that you guys didn't show up, right? Because that's understandable. Maybe you guys changed your mind. Yeah, I'm easy. I don't care about that. It's that you assured me that this would not happen again.
Assured. Damn, that's a strong assured.
I am certain you assured me on stream. I just got to find the episode. Wow. I'm sure it was in the first season.
Who would do that?
At the end of the first
season, damn.
Where I thought were both Suave and Tech. We're
Oh,
like, yeah, that looks fun.
God,
That looks fun. They're like, yeah, I'm gonna be on there. I'm like, oh, really?
Suave,
Really?
you in the
I love.
abandonment train?
I don't remember
Damn.
that.
I was like, I love Monster Hunter. They're like, yeah, I might play that. I was like, oh, awesome, really? Okay, I'm downloading it right now. I downloaded it. I'm pretty sure this was on stream. I downloaded Monster Hunter. And they're like, yeah. But what happened was we were downloading at the end of the night, so it was like, okay, we'll do this later. Like sooner or later, we'll play this game together. And
damn, it's 10:50.
No, I'm just getting a little emotional right now, so it's like, give me a second.
It's 10:50 Thursday.
You're good.
45 degrees. AJ got abandoned on Monster Hunter once again.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, it was me, and I logged in and I waited.
Dramatic.
And he waited.
Traumatic.
I waited some more.
I don't know what's going on.
Damn. How long, dog? We all
JK, I'm still waiting. JK, I'm still waiting. I'm still.
Oh man. That's
one is permanently logged into Monster Hunter Rise, sitting in the lobby.
Damn, not permanent. He's just waiting at the base, just like, where my friends at? I'm waiting to go hunt some monsters.
I think I did download that game.
Oh wow.
And I think I played it. Like I'm positive I downloaded it. Right?
Oh, he's like,
and here's what happened. I downloaded it, and then I played like the starter mission. Like I got my little like fox guy, and then I think I got something else, and I think I got confused by all the other options and shit. Like it's not a great UI. Like at least the time in which I played it, it wasn't a streamlined UI. And within like the first few minutes, I couldn't kill anything, and so I just I think I stopped playing.
And so during the course of you stopped playing because you got confused, you then also got confused on like how the English language works, and you couldn't like message your friend and tell him that you no longer wanted to play it, so he wouldn't just wait in the lobby for it. Okay, I get it. No, that happens to everybody. You just forget how words work, how text messages work, how Discord works.
Invites too.
How invites work. You forget all that stuff. All right, you come on the stream middle of the next week, and you forget that you even.
I do forget. Yeah,
no, I get it. No, makes sense. I wonder when I'll log off of that game. I just wonder when I'll just get my other Xbox back.
The more of the story is, folks, if you buy a game, you're gonna tell your friends, hey man, buy this game, let's play together. Make sure you
was it on Game Pass?
Make sure you have real friends is what I would say. Make sure you have people who actually play games.
I was gonna say honor your commitments, but okay, real friends too. Right. Well, that's fine with me.
Hey, JK, I like that. Honor your commitments. That's probably
honor your commitments.
That's all I'm saying.
Bruh.
You know.
I just know, but like,
if AJ, if you want to play tomorrow, we play tomorrow. DCGG. We have Slayers Club. I don't know what we're playing tomorrow.
Hey, I didn't have. Come check out the finals.
I never had finals, so that I never played that. I didn't want to. I know that's like a team game, and a lot of collaboration.
If you want to have hilarity and blow people up, make explosive little traps. You can do it there.
So that's why I didn't want to. I was fine not playing that because I was like, I don't want to screw up like the chemistry, like mess up the teams, because I'm not really a first person shooter person to begin with, and then that game has like kind of a learning curve because there's like different things that different classes can do, I guess. And so I was like, okay, fine.
It's like Team Fortress.
But yeah, I mean, I also downloaded Call of Duty. I mean, I don't get.
We play COD too sometimes,
Yeah, I think that's.
But I don't have the new
one
though. So.
Oh, okay.
It's on Game Pass. It's right there on Game Pass.
You're
right with the.
Okay.
Yeah, because Black Ops 6 is gonna be free on Game Pass too. So
I'm just kind of worried about taking up space on my Xbox.
You know what? You could probably
delete
Monster Hunter and put it.
Delete Monster Hunter.
Oh, delete Monster Hunter?
I would.
Oh, okay. I'm glad you gave me permission to do that because
at this point in time, I would say it's probably a safe bet.
That my friends aren't going to show up. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Yeah,
I would say
I don't
it's
even.
Just not going to happen.
Oh, I appreciate that, guys. I appreciate you guys giving me, a timely notice and let me know that,
For sure. I don't remember buying that game personally.
I definitely didn't buy it. So
I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. I don't believe you did. I don't even think you downloaded it,
No.
Swab.
It must be on Game Pass because I definitely did not buy it.
That
I'm about to
must be
say,
it. It was
AJ, if you want to
probably
feel better, go ahead and watch that link I sent you.
Yeah. I might post that link somewhere. This is
Oh, you know,
He
better
did
yet,
get us
hey,
both
Swap,
for what it's
why
worth.
don't we just watch
Why
that
don't
watch the
we-
clip real quick? How about that?
Don't you dare, Suave.
I
Suave, now look at me in the dead of my eyes. Don't you? Do you see me? Don't you do it.
you see you without the glasses.
You see you without the glasses. Oh man.
No, I couldn't see me without the glasses. She got blurry real fast.
I bet it did. But once you see
Yeah,
this clip, your eyes gonna readjust real quick.
I
Oh
think
my
I
God,
made
that
that.
clip is-
glasses. Like
I think I
ain't see
made the
season
mistake
3.
of downloading games that I think I'm gonna play with other people that I never end up playing with other people. I think I do that
all the time.
so
All the
often.
time.
I
So often.
I have NBA 2K24 on there.
Oh
Never
wow.
gonna play that.
Terrible.
Never played it with a single family member or friend. I was like, why did I do this to
That's a
myself? I
shame.
like basketball. I don't like it that much.
That's a shame.
Yeah. It's a shame we get like stuck in these games. Like we were like I remember and going down the relay, but going like the GameStop, right? Picking up some games and then just like
Don't mind if I
playing,
do
like before
Swap.
multiplayer became our default, like became the thing we did was multiplayer. You picked up a story, you played that through, you got different games and you tried them consistently, but like I will download a game thinking to myself, oh, I'm gonna play this. Nope. And I didn't play you. Like it's almost become similar to like how it's like I don't know. I like it's cool to have like a reading backlog or something like that. Like it's like you have a gaming backlog and it's fun just to joke and be like, I'll add it to the backlog. And like I got like 30 minutes to play a game a day, like a week. And it's like 9 times out of 10, that's like a shooter. And I hate that for myself. I really do.
Well, I don't play shooters for it. But same thing. Like I'll turn on the game. I'll practice in Street Fighter. Like I'm gonna eventually try to fight Creston, but I know I'm not. I'm never gonna be that good.
That's tragic.
never gonna be that good.
30 minutes. That's
Yeah, I'll get in practice and I'll just be like, yeah, here's a combo. Yeah, I'm gonna use this. Yeah. No, I'm never gonna do it.
Nope.
Because fighting somebody and practicing are completely different. But practicing gives you like a false sense of that you've done some work to get better.
Facts.
Absolutely.
And you're like, I practiced for 15 minutes. That's 15 minutes better than I was yesterday.
Especially fighting against Creston. That motherfucker. He was like,
he pretty much wiped me off the map last time I played Street Fighter with him.
He be practicing holding his daughter. I was like, God, you motherfucker.
That's why I don't like playing with him.
Some people just got the gift, man. Some people ain't got it. Yeah, you gotta just walk away from Street Fighter. I'm telling you, that's a special game. You can't just be good at it. There's some people who just really, really good at Street Fighter. There's other people who are just me. Not doing it.
Other people, they're just me.
It's all right, bro.
Damn, AJ, that sounds so sad.
I did pick up Sparking Zero, and I don't care if any of y'all play it because I'm enjoying it. I'm playing the story mode by myself.
Oh wow.
Another game that I downloaded thinking everyone was gonna play, and I think we played once. What was that dinosaur mech game?
Exo Primal.
I still have it downloaded.
Oh yeah.
Yep. I still have it downloaded.
I played it a couple times.
Yeah.
None of y'all were there.
I think that's all we managed to do was just like 1 or 2 times.
It was the beta, and then we tried to play the real game, but like there were connections issues.
Yeah.
I was like, well, and then it failed, and the game failed eventually. So I was like, well.
Can't release like a freaking multiplayer game. I mean, but I think we just had trouble like getting together and staying connected and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, cause we tried playing DCGG too, and that didn't go too well.
I really do want to play Lockdown eventually with y'all, but
that's
Lockdown does look interesting.
That game looks hilarious. I've been watching RDC play it, and then but I watch black streamers play all kinds of games. I just be like people playing, and find them on Twitch or YouTube. What black people doing?
I've
And
been watching.
that
I
game
watch
is
people play
hilarious.
different stuff. Yeah, Lockdown does look fucking hilarious. I saw them
It's
play it.
hilarious.
I was like, these fools are.
It's Among Us,
perfect.
but you can like fight back. Like you don't just have to run from the killer. Like the gun will spawn in the area. You don't know where the guns and the knives and the weapons spawn. And you can kill anything you can hold. You can kill somebody with it. So
What?
like, yeah. So like, if you were there's like these little containers to like get like samples of
Yeah.
like plants and stuff.
I'm
And
installing
you
it
can
now.
take those. You can take that sample and just like the sample container. So say you're the killer and you're helping somebody do one of the tasks, which is like analysis is the name of the task. And so you collect these samples in these like little jars and you put them in a machine. And if you have that in your hand and somebody's like standing there working on the machine, you can just start smacking them over the back of the head with it or whatever. Like, so it's like anything you can put in your hands, you can kill somebody with it.
It can be a murder weapon.
Yeah, exactly. But there are actual murder weapons. So there are actual shotguns, pistols, and knives, like, you know, that you can use to actually kill people. But they spawn randomly around the map, so it's not a guarantee that the killer gets a gun. Like it could be a good person that finds the gun, and then so you come in there trying to kill somebody, and then you run into somebody and hit them with something, but they don't die, and then they shoot you, and so it's like,
oh, that's interesting.
But even if you kill the killers, though, you still have to finish the task. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So you can't just be like, oh, I'm gonna kill all the killers. Once I hunt down all the killers in the game, no, you have to finish the task to win. But it's very, very fun, at least to watch, and I assume it'd be fun to play because Among Us was fun to play.
It was. Might test it out. It shouldn't take too long to download.
Yep. But I'm not holding my breath. I've learned my lesson. It's like,
I don't know what you mean, AJ.
There was this tweet on Twitter, it's like or X, where it's like thoughts of dog.
Don't you do that? Don't you dare call it X. Don't you call it X in my place.
That's what it's called.
And then
he was like, on Twitter, nigga. You had it right the first time.
the older dog tells a younger dog like the key to like spotting a fake ball throw is following the ball with your eyes, not your heart. Like, wow. Because it's just like you just know he's gonna throw that ball and you're gonna chase it down there, you're gonna bring it back to him. And
powerful.
Yeah, that's how I feel now. So I don't follow invitations with my heart anymore. It's just my eyes, guys.
You've been betrayed far too much.
Far too many times. The scar tissue is built up so thick, JK. I'm numb to it.
Hey man, I understand. It'd be like that sometimes, bro.
Wow. That's you've been through a lot, AJ. I respect your resilience out here.
Thank you, Swab. Thank you.
Absolutely, really do.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it feels good to be seen and heard now. Feels good.
We got you.
Do you know? I mean, like you don't have to go that far. You can just say I understand. The "we got you" was a little bit like. I think that's what we're talking about here. Is that you ain't really got me. Like. Right. You don't got me. If you got me, we wouldn't even be talking about this. This would be we'd have a different subject.
He said if you got me, we wouldn't even be talking about this. Because that would be a different subject entirely.
Yeah, we can talk about something else, I'm sure.
Now it's time to change the subject.
Now it's trying to transition.
Yo. You know what? Before Modern Warfare came to Game Pass, there was a bunch of people who wanted to play it in DCGG. So I bought it and I was like, Tech, buy this game while it's on sale so we can play with these folks.
Nope.
This nigga. One for 3?
Yeah.
Oh, this nigga didn't buy shit.
Nah, he did not. It was on sale, nigga.
Nope.
And he was like,
he's like, I ain't buying it. I'm buying it. Can't the Game Pass. Oh, hey, y'all want to play Modern Warfare 3?
Fake till the game was off sale. And didn't play it till it came to fucking Game Pass.
I almost bought that when it wasn't on sale. Like when it wasn't on sale because of the fact that I felt bad that I was missing out. Like that would have been the real problem.
Whose fault is that? Like you missed the sale. He said, Swat said, buy this game. It's on sale. The sale lasted for a week, and you were like, nah, man, maybe I do want to play, y'all. It looks fun. Blah blah, this that, and the third. Man, I don't know. Yeah, should I get it?
Did not
Sale
buy
ended. I'm gonna get it, y'all. I'm gonna get it. I'm like, nigga, you just missed the sale. He's like, oh, how much is it? Full price? He's like, oh, I ain't buying it now. I'm like,
I
this.
wasn't gonna get it anyway.
No. Like I
This
said, man, don't follow it with your heart, guys.
You right.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
You right.
Okay.
I'm gonna take that to heart.
Reconsider.
I'm not gonna do that to myself. I'm not gonna do that.
Terrible.
There.
You could say terrible. I say.
Say what?
I say also I really just don't give a damn what you say. But
yeah, I know. I know. That's fine.
That's me. That's me, and that's a me problem. You know,
that's perfectly fine. You know why?
But I'm healing from right now, JK.
You still healing?
You still healing?
Well, we about to open that room right back up and put some more salt in it real quick. So yeah. So
does salt help a wound at all?
It doesn't. It makes it burn like a bitch.
Well, I know the burning part, but does does it? Because I mean, salt doesn't. I think it does. Bacteria have a difficulty growing in.
It can help you with
depends
that.
On what type of depends on what type of salt. If it's iodized salt, no. But like if it's like pure salt, like from the earth salt, yeah. You probably use that in a medicinal.
I think they both work, but I'd have to double check. But yeah, you can definitely.
Because I think it's like
as much as they say iodized salt raises your blood pressure. I'm like,
but I'm saying like I think the bacteria has difficulty living in that kind of environment, so it probably actually does help to pack a wound with salt, so that the infection doesn't
set in there. You want them to suffer, not die. You know,
it's like because who's putting salt in? How did you know that was something bad, like salt specifically? Because like anything in a wound sucks. Like a wound in
somebody did it and it hurt.
So so salt in a wound must have been useful for somebody to say, "Oh, now you're putting salt in my wound," kind of like for it to be like a euphemism or whatever.
Yeah, that's helpful.
Possible.
Did
anyway, sorry.
Nah, you good. Not at all. We just freestyling out here. Did y'all see the little young white dude who was driving his McLaren and was like texting or trying to stream or something, and then crashed that but it was raining and everything. Crashed it, and then like his friend was messed up. And he was like, "Hey, bro, can you get this?" Handed him the phone so he could like record the boy's reaction to his crash car. I was,
bruh, I was just like, if this on screen, and like, not to sound like some old head, but like, if this is on screen about everything that's fucking wrong right now, the fact that you are messed up and you're thought to yourself is, nah, record this shit. Like,
we gotta get this footage.
Keep recording. You gotta get this footage. You gotta get this content. You know what I'm saying?
Like somebody else had to be like, "Hey, do you want to take this?" So he doesn't have to.
But it's just like those reels of like people getting hurt and they like, but they're recording it as it's happening. And I'm like, what possesses you? Like for instance, like that whole video of the bear eating the food and the mom's like holding the son and the dad's like recording, like the bear's on the table eating their food. Like eating their food, and the mom is like shielding the child away, and they're like kind of staying still, but the dad's recording it.
Like, right, yeah. They're at like a park or something, sitting at a table, and a bear's come to their picnic and yogied it, and right in front of their face,
just eating.
And yes, somebody's recording it. That's the part I didn't even think about that. Like somebody's actually sitting here recording this bear. Doing this thing
and posted
instead of being like, all right, let me see if we can get this, if we can distract it,
get move,
kids out of here,
ranger,
back us up, like instead they're recording it.
Yep, they're literally continuing to view it, like watch it, like it's just
shenanigans. I was like, what are y'all doing? And I'm like, okay, well, I was like, that bear eats you. That's on you.
I mean, he's gonna be pretty full after he finishes their plate, so maybe maybe they're in.
Maybe he won't.
Maybe
That's
he'll
true. It
start
depends on if
slashing
it's
his
hibernation season or
territory.
not.
It's about to
True
be.
too.
That's
I
true.
think it was during summer, so yeah,
Yeah.
it
Oh,
messed up.
okay.
So, yeah, he might have just got out of there trying to get back to his playing weight.
I'm done.
Yo.
Maybe it was, let me not
What's
say
this
that.
other joint that I saw? I was I'm trying to find the link. There's like some software for the new. Is it the new Meta glasses that people are using to like
Mhm.
dox people in
Oh
real time?
yeah,
Oh,
that
facts. Yes,
so
let's talk
scary.
about that, right?
Stressful.
So
Scary.
let's go ahead and let's put a clip because I feel like we're gonna be on this in a minute. So let's someone get this. So we'll cut this later in post for a whole like meta glasses. One, right? Being the security guy, my first thought process is one, didn't even think about this. So the fact that I didn't think about this is wild. Two, I think we should, all backtrack as a people if we want glasses to be computers, because I think that's kind of weird now, and I don't want that to be a thing anymore.
Well, I don't think it's the glasses being computers part. I think it's the glasses having cameras is the problem.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the augmented reality has never really been an issue. It's the fact that now those cameras. Oh, I guess you gotta have to have a camera to have augmented reality in some capacity.
Do you?
Yep.
Yeah. So it can.
I guess to interact with the world around you. Yeah.
Right. It has to be able to scan the
Yeah.
thing and whatever. And once you can scan an object, you can scan a face. So it's almost impossible to. That's not impossible. You could use geolocation and stuff like that for your augmented reality if you wanted to.
And if it's outside.
Yeah. So, and I mean, then inside you could use Wi-Fi. So you can have there's a way to track a device without that device sending the information. Like there's a way to map a world to a device without a camera. It's much harder though. It's a harder job to do it that way that's why we invested so heavily as like well not we but technologists invested so heavily in computer vision is to get past the having to do the actual math to map out the world. You can just have a computer look at the world and then
do it for you.
Give that information back, like our eyes work, or like we perceive the world. Have the computer perceive the world that way because it's a lot more simple. Because
is like
even
LiDAR not
perceive
better?
our world. I don't know, to be 100% honest, and I don't think if it was like, wouldn't LiDAR still have the same issue? Like, yeah, it's not a video recording, but wouldn't they still be able to map out things?
Oh yeah, but I don't think the mapping is the problem. The problem is like you being able to look at a person and like
be able to
have
find
their,
all of their information.
name, address on your phone.
Because like,
but
these websites have always been available, right? Like one thing before we go back to latter conversation, like these websites have always been available, but to do that and to like pull from them. One, I don't think most of the populace understands websites like these exist, or websites like this are also free to access, and how much we've been able to aggregate your overall online information to like phone number, your parents' information, et cetera, et cetera. Like they don't understand that onus of it all. Like the OSINT, which is the open source intelligence, et cetera. And so I think what this does a very fantastic job of, and 404 Media did a great write up on it in regards to it. But yeah, it's just being able to do that so quickly and pull all of your information up, like just strangers on the train, like that's creepy. And if it doesn't show you that there's a direct need for people to have understanding of their data and have more control over that data than ever, and just at least understand like, hey, your information's out there in a lot of ways, and someone can walk up to you and be like, hey, Jeff X, how's your dad doing? I saw he had he had like a thing, on Facebook in regards to his leg last week.
But see, like this tech has been sought after for like the past 20, 30 years. Like everybody likes to see, like for instance, we see it in movies, saw it in Iron Man, you can see it in
Mission Impossible.
Mission Impossible,
Yeah.
Kingsman. All
There's an
this,
episode of Lie to
it's
Me where this is exactly what the guy did. He had a technology where you could take your phone and point it at a person, and it would like link
yeah,
to their social media.
yeah. Watch Dogs. Watch Dogs is a perfect example of all this. Watch Dogs had where you could just walk up to somebody, it shows their bank account, shows their person, what they do, this, that, and the third. And Watch Dogs was a hack, like a guy who became a black hat hacker who used to be who got fucked over basically.
Yeah.
And so
It's a revenge story.
but it's a revenge story. And so basically he's able to hack into now, but he's hacking into a system of one company's system.
Mm-hmm.
It's not every system in the US. It's one company he's hacking into that has access to the entire city. That the city gave permission to everybody have access to this one particular company's system. So that's why he's able to happen to the power grid, cars, people's phones, bank accounts, stuff like that, cameras, all that stuff, because it's coming from one central system. Now, if this was to be implemented, if it's using Facebook, if it's using Meta, then it's going to be using Facebook's data, which but if people, now it's another thing, if people consent to Facebook's terms of service and terms of agreement, then technically they're not in the wrong. They can use that data however they see fit.
So I think it brings up a really good question again, data privacy. Because if you have these in glasses, right? You can easily also throw this into like a lot of the robot tech we have going out right now. Elon Musk is having a whole We Robot meeting live on Twitter. And he's literally talking about robots being able to serve you drinks at bars. So what if your robot also knows that you're used to be an alcoholic and it starts judging you while you're drinking at the bar? Complete possibility, right? Because it's able to pull up all your information. So it's just
again, that's also on the user too, because the users, all the users, we all do it here. Like we don't look at the terms of agreement, we don't look at the data privacy agreements that they always say, hey, we're updating this agreement. It's okay, whatever. But we never look at like what they updated. Like it could be something that's
sometimes
what you are, like what you want, and that's just the way people are, because we want to get through something quick. Like we're not gonna read this whole thing. Now
I think there it is. Maybe we should just do a quick like LLM bot that sits inside your fucking computer, or like if you have a terms of service, you can just be like, explain the terms of
That's what I was about to say, because like I'll read them sometimes, but it's like, what does this change mean for me?
What does this mean?
Like, what does this mean for me interacting with your service?
Unless you know legal speak, like it's like tech, like it's like in computers. Unless you know jargon and how to read code and stuff like that, it's gonna be a whole nother like a whole bunch of gibberish to you. Like it's like you looking at Elvish, like fucking trying to read that. But if you know the jargon and stuff like that, like a lot of lawyers do, but they're not gonna tell you unless you got a lawyer friend who will hook you up. But they're not gonna tell you because give me a fee, I can read it over for you and make sure you're good. And even then, they still fuck you over. You're like, oh well, you didn't pay me enough to read this shit. Like,
not paying an hourly fee to understand these. Not that high.
What I think is necessary, and this is always the case with almost everything, is like defense always comes after offense. It never comes before offense. Like you never think about how to defend against something that doesn't exist. Right. It's funny though, because we theorize all other kinds of things, but we never theorize defense. Like you never think about, hey, let's do this. That's because it's almost, I guess it's a waste of money too, because you can theorize in the wrong direction and then have a defense built for something that turns out to not be an issue. But the fact that now people are going to probably have like I don't know if this would even work, but like having like infrared, like one of those infrared lights that kind of like blocks out your face on a camera or something like that. So you'll be wearing glasses that block that shoot out infrared light so that other people's cameras can't catch your face. And then also this leads to like there needs to be new kind of like laws so that when people build these, because think about like DRM and stuff, like think about like how media companies protect their data, right? Like you put shoot, if you try to think about how Nintendo protects their data,
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
So if there was
Other
if
IPs.
the country was invested in protecting the citizens from this stuff, I mean, it would be easy to keep taking these sites down. Now, would you be able to? Would there always be one up there? Of course. Like same thing with Nintendo. They're still getting, um, they're still
More
getting not hacked, but they're still having their stuff
data
pirated,
breaches.
right?
What
So
data
so
usage.
they're still having those things happen to them, but then the consequences are severe. So there's less people who are willing to risk doing that. But there needs to be like real laws in place to do that. Otherwise, like this is going to be a problem, and not only is it going to be a problem, but by the time we realize it's a problem, the people who the things that are going to be in place for those people for malicious actors to take advantage of strangers is going to be ridiculous. Like for instance, like you buy a house, and as soon as you buy a house, you get a bunch of mail
Absolutely.
about like home warranties, about how you need to call me, this is urgent. You get a bunch of mail that says urgent about your home, and if you're not reading it and you're not savvy and you don't pay attention, you might end up paying somebody or giving someone money because they're to give you something that you already own or you already have access to.
Right.
Like there was like I got some mail one time where they were like, yeah, you can look at your basically like the look at like the deed to your house or whatever. Like we'll give you a copy of it, right? But it's like you can get a copy of it, that's yours. Like, but for people who, it's just a thing. I remember when I first registered for my business, somebody reached out to me and was like, hey, you need to file your annual report in Florida. And then they give you a breakdown, like here's how much it'll cost. And I was like, oh, I do need to do my annual report. But luckily I'm in a group of people who are in business at the same time as me and before me, and they're like, yeah, you do it here, you go here and do it, right? Because the annual report is a real thing. But these companies, what they do is they send you an envelope and they say, yeah, you need to pay your annual report, and they charge you to pay your annual report for you, but you can do it.
For
yourself.
free.
I mean, you're gonna have to pay, but you don't have to pay them. You just
Right.
have to pay, the state of Florida. So it was like but as soon as I registered for a business, I was getting that mail. Like as soon, like because it's a public record.
Yeah.
So
The
it's
same
like
thing with credit cards and loans. Like they were like, oh,
exactly.
hey, you got this amount of credit cards, money that you use on credit cards. Here's the loan that can help fix that. Here's the percentage rate and all that. And want to sign
Because
up now.
right, and these people are tapped into those systems, and you get calls as soon as you buy a thing or do a thing, you start getting calls from specific scammers that your name gets on another list and another list and
Mm-hmm.
another list, and
Absolutely. Yep.
because there's no legislation to protect individuals from being
Nope.
farmed for their data, because most of the companies that there's nobody who's going to lobby for the citizen, and most of the companies that have lobbies are the companies stealing your data because your data is very valuable, right?
Mm-hmm.
23andMe, all that stuff, you're giving them your DNA and they're using
They
it.
just
Like,
had that whole data breach
Yeah.
for 23andMe or something,
I
or
don't remember if they
not
had a
data breach.
breach,
It
but
was something doing with 23andMe.
they're talking about going private, and they're talking about
Yeah,
like their whole board stepped down, I think.
that's it. The
It's
whole board stepped down, and they were like, no. And
wild.
people were like, yeah. And I'm glad I haven't done it. So
yeah,
like,
That
I
stuff
was
is
always worried about that because I'm like, I don't know what you can do with my DNA, but I don't want you
I
to
don't want to
have it.
find out. Hey.
Yeah, I don't want you to have it
I feel like
because
as much. Oh, go ahead. My bad.
I was just looking into I want to know, like, what's in my
Yeah.
bloodline, like where I come from, like all the other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I was looking at like open source possibility, but it's like the government doesn't care about your lineage. So the real issue isn't the uh, being able to take your DNA and sequence it or whatever it is. The real issue is once you have your DNA sequenced or however they do it, I don't know the actual process. Uh, you can't relate it to any other data. So what 23andMe really is a database. They're
Yeah.
not. It's not the process. It's the data. So the data they have on you, that's both their business and it's also the thing they sell and the thing they use to kind of like
Now they
probably
could sell that
develop
to law
other
enforcement or to
law
the
enforcement.
government.
It's
To government.
actually happened where a guy
Yeah.
did one of those ancestry things, and his brother was a murderer,
Yeah.
and they were able to connect his brother back to the crime based on
That 23andMe connection.
that 23. Yeah, well, I don't know if it was 23.
Well, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah,
that,
whichever
that
ancestry. Yeah, they were able to find them because there are certain genetic markers that come from siblings, so they're able to match you now to the crime, and so it's very possible. And there's also like medicines, targeted medicines maybe in the future.
I think that was one of their services they offered initially, was to tell you if you have markers for like certain diseases, if you're predisposed to certain stuff. I think that was a big part of their initial offering.
There was a case about that.
But if you can do targeted medicines, now you can do targeted poisons. So now it's like you could put something in the water of an entire city. You want to kill
unlock
one guy.
the whole new category of nightmares for this man.
And then you're like, you can go Dark Knight on him, or not? Was it Dark Knight or Batman Begins? Where they
Batman Begins, where he poisoned the water.
You can go Batman Begins on him, but you only want to kill one person, so you have it. So you just flood it in there. Other people might get sick or something like that, but that one person actually dies, and then you just go about your business. Like, so
targeted poison.
Actually, there was a movie like that though.
That technology exists. Like you can definitely do direct targeting poisons for.
No, yeah, it exists now, but I'm just saying, like,
yeah,
you giving people your DNA is just a way for them to like, and like I said, you don't have to. It might not be you. It might be someone you're related to down the line that pays the price because you gave your DNA up.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just saying. So the whole issue is that there needs to be legislation in place, but the problem is people don't have a lobby. We don't have like as citizens. There isn't an American citizen. It's like we need like a union for the entire country. For all the people,
absolutely.
Everybody who's not in the 1%, they need their own union that we pay directly, and that union lobbies for us specifically.
But also too, the people who are in the seats for legislation don't.
If I believe that people would actually do it, I would think it was a good idea. I don't think it's a good idea because we don't like each other as a country.
No. And also too, like the people who are making those laws don't know, like.
Oh yeah.
They don't know jack. Like they're asked questions like, "So you're saying you can do this?" Well, it's like, well, yes, but here's this. Okay, so let's go back to like they focus on the wrong thing that benefits them instead of focus on the thing that should be benefiting the American people. Like when they
go ahead.
Like when they had that whole who was it? The whole social media.
You talking about the TikTok thing?
No.
I know what you're talking about. They had Mark Zuckerberg there.
Yeah, they had Mark Zuckerberg, and they were like, "So you're saying that people can connect around the world? Like, how is that secure? Like, how can you like asking dumbass questions? Like, y'all asking the dumbest fucking questions I ever heard in my life, and you do not need to be a techie to know the simplification of how Facebook works. Like, it does not. It's not that hard of a concept. And for you to ask,
and even
dumb
if it
questions, even if it was, like,
you have all the resources to be able to get the speed up on what you need to know about this quickly. Right. You have everything you need at your disposal.
To do so.
But even then, though, like people, like even then, they don't like. Like it just baffled me. I was like, I can't stand to watch this because they're asking stupid questions. Like Mark Zuckerberg, that's why Mark Zuckerberg looked like that. I realized that's why he looked like that. He was like,
"What's the answer to this?"
Short circuit in that man's brain. Like, wait, you want to ask me how the internet works? Is that what you're asking? Because this been around since the 80s.
Right. You know, Facebook is not the internet, right?
If he was a legit robot, he would have short circuited on that. He would have short circuited, and he'd be like, you know what? I need to reboot. I need a recess. I'm sorry. I like even with the FCC, like I was like, what are y'all asking? Or not? Or is it FTC? not Federal Trade
I
Commission. No,
don't know what
the
either of them people
whatever
do.
the Federal
I feel like they do the same
Communication
thing.
Commission, whatever it is.
Yeah.
The one who tried to
It's probably the
make the
STC.
internet
Yeah.
tried to make the internet.
I don't know. Oh no, they tried to do that thing where they took off the Title IX. You're saying?
Yeah.
Where they were like, oh, you can still go on, you can still, like your food on Facebook if you want to take a picture of your food on Facebook. Like he was, I forgot that guy's name, Ajit Pai or something like that.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Idiot
The
too.
asshole from Verizon.
Yes.
Yeah, dumbass too. But yeah, I'm just saying. Like, I was like, what are you talking about? Like, he wanted to make the internet harder to access.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like for people.
But that was for money reasons. He wanted,
right? Of course, it was for
those
money
gatekeepers to be able to charge, like how they like they do with cable and like they do with everything, and they do actually do that. Like where like 100 gigs here is more expensive than 100 gigs here, and blah blah blah. They can offer like
instead of being
a utility,
and being, you want to be greedy and try to make it harder for people to access shit, instead of being like all these other countries where like everybody, it's a gig. Like I think in Switzerland for a gigabyte it's like $20.
It's a lot of European countries like that.
Like yeah,
a couple of African countries like that too.
African country, yeah, sure. Like Korea, yeah.
Yep.
And I'm like,
basically everywhere over here.
Yeah. I mean, here the almighty dollar runs everything, but
I mean,
and cell phone too.
Cell phone too, yeah.
That's, with the questions they were asking, it seems to me like what they're really trying to do when they ask questions is be seen and heard. Because they want to seem like they're like, they want to be able to say, hey, yeah, I questioned that guy, I was there, I and so it's almost like, remember in like college and high school, you always had that one person who was asking questions just to ask questions. Like their questions were like, it's like, no, he just said that. Like the teacher just said that. Like you heard him, right? Like we're all looking around like,
we were all here.
Oh, so you just want to be seen and heard, like you're doing something, but you're not doing something.
And just like that person, I would tell them, maybe you should just shut the fuck up. Like, you just ask that question. Like, if you open up your ears and listen, maybe you get the answer that you have to keep repeating the same question that we just asked. Like,
and so yeah, they obviously are too old to, and they won't get younger because young people can't be senators. They don't have the time. Like
no.
they don't have the time or the desire, because politics is very, most people don't like it. Like most people would rather do something else. Like I feel like people who don't want to work for a living do it. Like they're like, I don't want to work for a living. Right. And you also have to have like enough people that like you and want you to not work for a living. Like it's almost like being a minor celebrity.
It's a popularity contest.
Yeah, it is. So most people don't want to do it. So
it's like the high school shit.
Yeah. And so you don't get the people who are qualified because they want to actually do stuff. Like they don't want to be, beholden to like constituents and stuff like that. And maybe they're not comfortable with lying, because I feel like you can't be a politician without lying.
Damn.
No, I honestly don't think you can, because you have to make promises, and you're trying to get as many people as possible to
believe those
back
promises.
you. And so you have to make promises to a bunch of different groups of people. And because you're making promises to a bunch of different groups of people, you end up serving very few of those people. And it's just not a numbers game. It's statistics. It's like, so you have to be okay with being like, yeah, I'm going to do that. And then getting in there and be like, oh, I can't do that. And being fine with letting that person, letting those people down.
Especially if we have another party that it makes up the majority of.
Yeah. And then, I mean, that's pretty much just a giant, like, it just, I feel like it got big like the Titanic, where it's like it's just too big now. So now it's kind of showing its dumbness because of how large the idea is. It started out as a good idea, sure, but it didn't have enough, like there was no pruning process, so it just kept growing uncontrollably. Yeah. But no. Yeah. Oh, to jump back to what we're talking about, that meta stuff was very scary. It was like, oh,
I didn't even know about you. Y'all said something. I was like, well,
no, I'm telling you, people are going to be wearing RFID or whatever, not RFID, but infrared, like they're going to be wearing basically anti-video glasses or something. Anti-video hats, anti-video, jewelry, paraphernalia,
Headphones, yeah.
whatever. Yeah, anything to kind of like create that glare so you can't get a full picture of their face, so you can't find them.
Like the like the license plate frames people be using before your face.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
Or the ones that disappear, the little, the little ones.
are they doing that to
back
escape
up.
LPRs, like license plate readers and stuff? Is that what
Yeah,
they do?
basically.
Yeah.
And I was looking at a thing about that too, because apparently there's I don't know if there was a breach, but there was just a lot of noise around this one company that has like a massive database of all the information. It's not just license plates is the thing. There was
Once you
a
get the license
journalist or
plate,
somebody.
you can
Yeah,
get the
everything.
address, you can get a ton of stuff just by having a license plate.
It's supposed to be license plates, but a journalist or somebody signed up for a trial to write a story on it, and they were like, guys, what the fuck is this? And they like revoked their access to shit. And it's like,
terrible.
Because it's so easy for people to get a license plate reader and get paid basically to drive around and, collect this information for cops, for, repo firms, all that kind of stuff. And it's just like, geez, but they have just a lot more stuff than license plates.
Yeah.
They got people's faces, people's clothes, if they're wearing political shirts, if they have political signs in the yard, like they got your address with. Dude, it was nuts. I'm like, what?
That sounds
like
it's a constitutional problem right there.
No, not if it's public. Like if you can see it in the street, it's probably not illegal for somebody to put it in a database. Like if it's reasonly easy for someone to access it, like
then it's basically public
property. Yeah, then you can.
There's a difference between accessing and storing.
Right,
like
but
there's certain things that prevent companies from storing certain data unless that user agrees to it. Then that's a different story.
Kind of, but if they collected this data themselves from stuff they saw, right? That's different. It's like if you took pictures of people, right? Like in public, you were just taking pictures of people, or you're an artist, you sketch people's faces, right? Like you can do that legally. That's not illegal for you to draw somebody's face, right? You can't make money off of it. You can't sell their picture without their whatever.
Right.
But you can have a filing cabinet full of strangers if you want it.
Again, that's storing for privately, yes. But for public, if it's public, like if it's just a public facing website and people can have access to data and they pay for it, then that's a problem. Or if it's a public facing website and they can type in their name and their stuff pops up, unless it's a site of public record or has access to public records, then that's a different story.
But my question is this. You don't, do you have to, all you have to do is say, oh, my bad, let me delete you, right? But not everybody's gonna, you know what I'm saying? Like, is it illegal? Is there a punishment for doing it? Or is it just that once somebody finds out they're in that system, can they say, take me out of it?
If it can be a punishment if that person sues and they say, hey, this person is using my information.
But when you sue, you gotta prove damage. You can't just sue because you don't like what somebody's doing. You can do a cease and desist,
but you can only prove damage. If they find out through a means of somebody using that against them for some way,
that's what I'm saying.
Then yes, but
that's damage.
That's damage.
But you can't sue somebody for doing something like that like makes you uncomfortable unless there's actual damage done. So and you have to be able to prove the damage. That's what I'm saying. So yes, if a data breach happens, and then your data gets up on the black market, then a la Crunchyroll, you can sue, and everybody made $30, right? Because Crunchyroll
they made a subscription. That's it.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like everybody made $30 because Crunchyroll didn't take care of your data, but that was damage. But if if they have the data and you don't know what they're doing with it, you can't prove they're doing something with it. If you can't prove they're doing a crime, you can't just decide to subpoena a random group's records and database. You can't do a public records request on a private company, even if the data comes from the public. See what I'm saying? You can do a public records request on any governmental system, but you can't do
Yes,
that. You can't do that on like a private company's data just because they're collecting public data. Like I can't ask Facebook what they have on me.
it can.
You can, but they don't have to tell me everything. They can just say this is what we got.
They have to if it's it's part of the agreement. If you say, hey, I want this and I want all the information that you have on me, this that, and the third, then they have to send it to you because
Okay.
you
Well,
are
I didn't know that.
requesting. You're requesting them to send information that you agree to share.
But even if you get your information, you find out what they have on you. You can't say, "Hey, don't sell this."
You can opt in to say that.
No, you
There are
can. Yeah,
services- Yeah, there are services that can go out and remove you.
from the other systems, not from Facebook. They can just sell it again. Like that's what I'm saying. Is like,
But
Yeah,
unless
Facebook
you,
can remove your account.
Facebook can't sell it. Now they have in place where Facebook can't sell your data unless you agree to it.
but yeah, everyone's agreeing to it. Though is what I'm saying. Like what you brought up earlier. It's back to your point where people just click the button. They don't even read it.
Well, that's right, and that's on the user. Like if that person just
But you
clicks
won't
through,
be able to use the service without it. They're not going to let you use Facebook without it because they know that it's
That's
more
not true.
likely that you're going to have the pressure of using the system, and so you're going to opt into these things because a lot of like Instagram. I didn't want to do like the little verification thing on Instagram, and so it's like,
don't
guess
have to.
what? I don't have Instagram anymore
Yep.
because
you can still use Instagram without that verification.
I can't use my Instagram. It will not let me use my Instagram without doing the verification. I got to hold the little numbers up to or do the whole thing, take the pictures, hold the numbers up or whatever it is, like so that they know that I'm really who I say I am, that I'm not a bot or whatever. But they can do that with their like agreements. Like, hey, if you want to opt out, you can opt out, but you can't use our service without opting in.
Because if that was the case with that verification,
if
if that was the case with that, then they would. Then a lot of bot accounts wouldn't be made, but still they were made. So like that's
I mean, there's probably a way to game it. You could probably just cut. I don't know, like cut pictures
because that verification was that blue check mark, and they took that away.
No, I'm saying like not recently. Shoot, this was years ago. I haven't used Instagram in years, but
I think they changed that.
There was like a security process where you had to verify in order to use your Instagram. I tried to log in maybe sometime earlier this year just to see if it was still accessible, and they're like, nope, you got to do this little process thing. And I was like, well, then I'm still not on Instagram.
Well, maybe they changed it because I don't remember. I remember doing that, but maybe because I've still been using it. But all in all, like a lot of companies now, for them to in order to like Instagram, okay, maybe Instagram won't, but like Facebook, in order for them to, because I unchecked that box, so like, hey, you don't use, like even for PlayStation, they're like, hey, will you allow, or not PlayStation, but anything that allows you to share data with the company, like, hey, like even Apple, they're like, hey, will you allow us to share this data with third-party countries or third-party companies, this, that, and the third. You say no, they can't deny you access, but they have to ask now because people were having that problem of their stuff being used inappropriately by those companies, and they didn't know about it until it was too late.
But you can also make that a rule for your service.
You can,
and it happens a lot.
And they have to tell you.
Yes, correct.
And if they don't tell you, then it's a breach in that whole.
That's true.
Agreement.
What I'm saying is our society isn't set up for us to understand how valuable our stuff is. So yes,
they're not ready for auto opted in AI features as well.
Right.
They just
right. They just started
those just as much as they're rolling out changes to privacy policies.
Yeah, I mean they started rolling out those AI stuff too.
Yeah, who was it? Udemy. Recently, they had rolled out, like, because apparently they're basically trying to do AI generated training, and so they were letting the people who post on Udemy know that, hey, You can opt out, but you won't have access to any of our AI features in the future. And then they didn't send out any email notices or anything like that. They literally just said there's a button. I guess there was like a notification inside of your creator dashboard, but most people will like post their Udemy trainings and then like not log into Udemy again for a while, right? They kind of just, it's passive. It becomes, money rolls in if you get it, if you don't. So they're just like opting in, by default to these AI features and having their information brought in and being trained by these models. And models are expensive.
Oh yeah.
As far as we understand, training a model is expensive. Restarting the training is expensive. It's a lot of work, a lot of effort, a lot of planning goes into it. A lot of resources go into it.
Yep.
And so a lot of these companies are just by default saying like, yeah, you opted in, homie. Like you're opted into all this AI stuff. And a lot of users aren't ready for that either. When AI is so personal that it can just be like, hey, you opted into this on Amazon and now we've created a AI buying bot for you. We've noticed you're about to run low on toilet paper. Do you want us to place that order for you?
Yeah.
I
Like
was
even for medication, like they'd be like, "Oh, hey, we ordered your medication. You see, you about to run out." I'm like, "But I haven't run out. So why are y'all sending me
Yeah.
medication that I don't need right now?" Like if I need medication, I'll call you when I need it. And I told him that. I will call you, and he's okay. And they still call me like, "Hey, do you want a refund?" I was like, I will call you when I need it. Like, okay, well, thank you. I was like, y'all motherfuckers don't listen. Like, and
there
they
was
keep.
a.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. There was a voice actor that I follow on social media. I don't know if y'all know her name is Tawny something. But she does like a lot of like voice actor content on social media. And she got this comment in her like her YouTube channel or her YouTube page that says, "Hey, I just used AI to clone your voice, so enjoy basically like enjoy your livelihood while it lasts or whatever." And she was like, this is kind of crazy, but she explained all the things she's been doing to kind of like prepare for this, because she said she kind of like expected stuff like this. And so there are like legal firms that will go and like sue for you if people are using your voice to like build AI. And so it was kind of crazy though that somebody could just do that though. Like they watch all her videos, take all her videos, put it in a training model. And now they have her voice. And she's a voice actor, so it's a good voice. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's a valuable voice. And that's kind of how AI learns to do everything, is like from watching other people do that thing well, right? I don't know if we're at the point where AI kind of like creates its own way of learning. And even if it did, we wouldn't understand
Not
it
yet.
probably.
They're trying to get close to it, but it's not to affect to where they can like mimic how brain function is for a human.
Yeah, how we learn, and so they can build
Yeah.
off of their own knowledge and
Right.
then no longer need us to teach.
Right. It's not Free Guy.
Right. Exactly.
That's
So yeah, that was kind of weird that she, they now you think about it, like even us doing this, right? Like our voices are now fair game.
Fully on the internet, yeah.
And then there was this other guy I watched. He's like a Raspberry Pi like tinkerer, and he was watching a video to like a company that he likes, right? Chinese company, but he likes some of the products they make.
Yeah.
And they used used his voice for one of their videos. And the only reason they probably took it down was because obviously he has a following. He made a video about it, and so the company reached out to him and they're like, "Oh, we're so sorry. It's a young the entry level employee who just did this. They didn't understand the rules and blah 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 blah." We know that's not what happened. They just got caught, and then now you have to make all the apologies that are appropriate for getting caught. But
that track.
Yeah, his voice. They took his voice and used it on one of their it wasn't a training video, but like on one of their marketing videos for their
it was
software.
like a trailer or something.
Yeah.
All right.
Like
that's that's by like, and with the voice actor, her voice is basically her brand. So like she basically trademarked it.
Yeah.
And so she trademarked her voice, and so like even with our stuff, like once we trademark, I'm done.
No, I was like, I need to. I might try and pull a piece together on this tomorrow as
And
well.
so, like, people, when you trademark your stuff, people have less opportunity of actually, grabbing what you make
Your
and
stuff.
things like that. Yeah. And so,
well, they're gonna grab it, but what you have is the ability to legally defend yourself in a way. So it's like you, but they can still do it, right? And maybe you can seek for damages, kind of like what Nintendo did to that one people who were basically created that like Switch thing, like that. I forgot what it was, but you remember that company we were talking about
or
a couple
Yuzu,
like last season. I think that's what you're talking. Yes,
Yuzu, yeah,
yeah, and they sued them for damages, but not that they didn't actually do any damages, but they made
no,
money, and that was the
yeah,
damages basically.
yeah.
So they made that money in
They were
that
taken away from their product.
Patreon,
Yeah.
and I wish we just had 1 month of their success.
Yo,
That
1 month
just
of their
1 month,
success. We can make
bruh.
some
Let me
changes around here. but
absolutely
New equipment.
1 month. I'll take it. So
but
before
yeah.
I call it a night, because you know a nigga turns into a pumpkin at 12 o'clock.
oh yeah.
Mhm.
Uh, just dropped 11 minutes, fresh off the presses. Elon Musk's whole rollout for his, optonomous robot thing. And I'm interested in, one, playing on stream, two, getting you guys' overall thoughts. I think it's just like the end half, where it's like showing it in the house and stuff.
Mm.
So one,
No.
what's our thoughts of, robots in our house, right? Two, we've had various things and various discussions. Three, I mean, two, it's very much seems like tech companies that's where they're going, right? That's their ultimate goal. They're working on AI in order to make robots more, freely autonomous, able to make, optimal decisions, right? That's AI is it's not building so we can just like code and improve some general stuff at work. They're ultimately going for robots, right? Like that's what they're going for. Um, so two, with that being the case, how likely are you to allow this in your home? Three, um, like what does this do for the home relationship? Like what does it mean when robots essentially take over all of the mundane tasks like laundry, doing the dishes, things like that?
Less stress.
Um, yeah, it's less stress, right? Like, that's your first default thought process, right? But inherently, those things are all things in which, unfortunately, in our society, often go to, our wives, and 9 times out of 10. And so, what does that mean when these robotic companies are trying to like kind of phase that out? In generality, I think it's good, right? Because there's a lot of unpaid labor that goes into running a home. But in the
Pretty much.
same sense, doesn't make the home less, because like one of the things that they did
Depends
not
on the
in
household.
this video that you can tell, they're kind of aiming for like this whole like, hey, we essentially just become this like, we take over all of this stuff, right? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, butlers, all that stuff. Um, cleaning companies as a whole. I mean, what do you need a cleaning company for when you got a robot that does the cleaning for you? So it's just like,
I mean, if you make a cleaning company that like of robots like that, and
Yeah,
they're
you
able to
rent
do
out
that,
robots so that people don't have to own them themselves.
yeah,
yeah,
then that's a different story. And then two, depending on the household, like if it's a household where if the mom or dad stays home and they're doing the work, so like if one spouse goes to work, the other one is a stay-at-home parent, then yeah, that's gonna like they basically don't have to do anything except maybe take care of the children or do what they want. And even then, maybe the robot still does that. But if it's a household where both spouses are going out to work, then that robot could possibly help with stress of they're coming home to a clean home, and maybe the robot doesn't cook or anything. Maybe it just cleans up, just like a
yeah,
whatever. And then they say, oh well, now I can cook and don't have to worry about cleaning up and doing all this, that, and third. And the robot just cleans up and maybe tidies things up after, or helps clean up cooking or whatever. Like it all depends on what type of household it is. Because like, if it's a two parent household, maybe it's two parents and maybe their parents are staying with them, and maybe they need home care, so that robot can help with that home care. So there's different situations where the robot could be beneficial, but at the same time, I'm not trying to have a robot situation. So like
I think the robot situation is far and in between, right? Sci-fi is great. We pull a lot of stuff
I
from there.
don't. I don't think it's far. I just
I don't
don't
think it's
think
far at all.
I don't think they're gonna be athletes, but they can still
No.
kill
Yeah,
you.
I don't think we have range of motion, right? Like, you know,
They can still. They can
They can
still.
still do flips.
Yeah, they can still go into
still do flips,
go
and
into
they do
get
have enough
hacked.
power to put a hole
Go
through my
into
chest, I guess. But
right.
No, I'm saying like they get hacked. They go into the garage and turn on the natural gas in your water heater,
house,
and then carbon monoxide poison your whole family. Like there's easy
guys, is
ways
there an
to
open
kill
source
people.
bot?
You don't.
Like does the open source community come out with a bot at this point? Like,
Well, they absolutely will, but I think that would be less secure. I mean,
absolutely,
than a company. But I think that my issue is like, what am I funding really? Like, what am I really funding with these things? Because am I funding basically for you to then eventually take the jobs of those people so they can't even afford the robots that you sell to me? Like am I funding so that now all manual labor is done by robots, right? So it's more, manual. You've taken the man out of manual labor, right? So it's now just, an entirely like just efficient society, but nobody can afford to live in it, kind of thing. Where it's like
also rolled
unless
out
the whole currency system changes to where it's where
universal
credit, stuff like that.
Yeah, basic income.
Yeah, but like Star Trek, basically.
Yeah, but we're not ready for that.
Our infrastructure can't handle that,
and we don't want it. That's the real thing.
No.
We don't want it. We don't want a world where everybody makes the same. We don't want that because
people don't like socialism.
Well, yeah, I mean, people have all kinds of reasons for balking against that. But that's the issue. It's like the reason I hate these things now. When I was younger, this stuff was all cool. This is the future. This is what we wanted. But understanding how the world works, you're like, this isn't what we wanted because this is going to displace people. And every time you displace people, you're causing you. Sure. It looks shiny and pretty for the people who can survive in that world because they have the resources. Right. And so you're looking at this shiny like new world where he's showing all these people in the living room but these people probably live, off of like they're probably in the top 1% or even smaller percentage of people. And so you're looking at them smiling and they can spend more time with their kids because they got a robot doing all the work. But the people who can't afford to work anymore, basically, because the robot is taking their job. Now they can't even get a job, right? So it's like, and think about it. AI is taking even the smart people's jobs now. It's not it's not just like you can be like, oh, well, go back to school and get some training. Well, that's not going to be enough anymore, right? You can't train me to be a coder because AI is learning how to code right now, and it's already better than most people who start off. And there's, I mean, what did they say about the new GPT thing, or not GPT, but the new model for or they said that basically they made it do some like coding tests and some math tests, and it pretty much scored like in like top 80% or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
And so it's like it's already better than people who've been doing this for most of their life, right? Or who've been doing it for years, spent decades learning, because it's taking the knowledge from all of these other people and using it's basically building on top of all these people's knowledge. Like the smartest people in the world is taking their knowledge, which is public and available to everybody, and kind of like building on top of it. So of course it's going to eventually get better, and it's going to get better faster because it's constantly running. It doesn't need to eat, doesn't need to sleep. It's got people taking care of it. It has no, So it's easy to kind of like look at it and say, there's no real job that's safe from AI, right? There's just it right now. There are things that AI can't replace, and most of it is because of like culturally, like sports, right? Sports is safe right now because we want to see people playing sports.
But we don't want to see robots in For how
But
long?
guess
Yeah.
what? Esports exists.
Yeah.
Esports
So
does exist.
esports exists. That proves
I'm
that,
too old though. My
hey,
hands don't have that same agility anymore. Maybe if I start doing some
Oh, I thought
exercises,
you were
my
young.
hands. No, I'm realizing my hands don't snap to the to the buttons the way
Not
they
that.
used to.
Yeah.
but
They're
still,
bright kids.
you got the esports. Esports is one step away from being a simulated game where you just simulate it. And the truth is, if you can get gamblers to just bet on a simulated game that they trust, you can get
Yeah.
simulated
Simulated.
games where it's just like Las Vegas and you just host like a digital pong bowl, right? But if
Yeah.
people betting on it, making money on it and stuff like that, it's gonna get popular. And then next thing you know, we are watching AI sports. So nothing's safe, right? There are just things right now that culturally we want people to do.
Yeah.
And that's always been the case, but we've been able to hide behind economics. We're not gonna be able to do that.
Yeah.
So my fear with robots, my fear with AI is not what I know the awesome things they can bring. I just know that like it's
The
unlikely
world
that those
isn't ready for it. Yeah.
well, yeah, it's not even about ready because we're absolutely smart enough and wise enough to know the troubles and we know how to we'll even build plans to basically air quotes circumvent those things.
Mm-hmm.
But we won't enact those plans because those plans are costly and they don't and there's no advantage to us to be kind and to say, hey, well, let's not do this because it'll destroy these people's livelihood.
Yeah.
So that's my fear. Just the fact that like I'm not really worried about iRobot, even though that's very possible too. Somebody hack your robot and F up your whole family.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more
Man,
worried about somebody deciding that, hey, we don't need you anymore in any of these jobs.
So replacement, basically.
Yeah. Like
Mm.
that's coming. It happens. It's been happening since technology was a
It's
thing,
slowly
right?
happening. It's slowly happening.
Like every time you turn around, like any advancement gets rid of jobs, and it's exponential. So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, sure, the steam engine got rid of some jobs,
We
but
got rid of
you
horses
know,
and
yeah,
carriages and stuff like that.
right, and then you get rid of the people who breed horses. You get rid of some of them, but it's only a few because people still use horses for other things.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then you build a car, then you build a truck, right? Now, if you're a farmer, you don't actually need horses to be a farmer. What's a time where you actually needed horses to be a farmer,
Right.
or you needed livestock to pull things as a
Right.
farmer. Now you don't need
Oxen, stuff like
any
that.
exactly. Now you need just a tractor and a truck.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You don't need it. You don't need all that stuff.
Need
So
some
it's
gas money.
exponential. Eventually, it's gonna be possible to be a single individual and survive without the assistance of other humans. And I don't think that's a good idea.
No, because that then gets
I don't
into a
even think
society where we
that's
can't.
uh,
You don't think that's viable? Well,
no,
No,
not
I think
like
I think it's possible. I don't viable. What does that even mean at this point when it's one person?
would this person? Well, I guess people live alone now, but I'm just thinking about complete like the people who live alone still go to the store, go to
mm-hmm.
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like
You know what
I
it
guess
sounds
it's
like
not
though?
something that I can imagine.
That sounds
Yeah,
like
it's.
idiocracy.
Sounds like
I
Idiocracy.
hear about that movie all the time, and I never
Like
seen it.
it's
I haven't
like in an
seen it either.
idiocracy, basically a dude and a so it's basically an army soldier and I guess she was Maya Rudolph was a prostitute, but she accidentally gets stuck in this pod and they get time they quote
They
unquote
wake
time
up in the future.
travel. They went up
Yeah,
in the future.
Mm,
They get cryo frozen. They end up in the future,
damn.
and the future basically is people
crazy.
sitting at home watching TV in Crocs, drinking energy
What?
drinks, eating processed food, getting fat and doing nothing, and just like pretty much people become idiots because the amount of people who are smart don't want to have kids, but all the people who are quote unquote idiots are
Mm.
having more and more babies, and
It sounds like
education
play at
is.
racism.
I mean, but it wasn't just like it wasn't like a play on like Blackfoot. It
Yeah.
was just like play on like
Just the
in
natural
general the
progression of these
population.
things, especially if you don't if you don't look out and say, hey, these are dangers, and take them seriously. A lot of times we see the dangers, but we don't take them seriously because the advantages in the current time are better, like global warming, right? We had this super strong storm in Florida, right, that just passed through.
Right.
And it was the second storm that was, around that same strength. Helene went up into North Carolina and did so much damage. It hit Florida first, but it did so much damage in North Carolina.
Yeah.
So it's like, but the people are like, oh, it's not North Carolina. Did things go in cycles? I'm not North Carolina. I'm sorry. It's not a global warming. Things go in cycles. It's not that big of an issue. Blah 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 blah. Because the benefits of burning fossil fuels and doing all the things that damage the environment are so good for the now. You can make so much money and live your life. You don't really care. Your grandchildren will figure it out. Right. Like,
I don't even think it's just that too. Fucking who was it? Chevron that found that they were destroying the environment in like the 70s and then lobbied hard as hell to, make sure, and I mean automakers too, lobbying hard against like the collective good of the people who live here for the good of these companies,
shareholders, and the money that they're making. Right. And so that's my issue with the robots too, and that's my issue with all advancement, is it's always like, hey, but this is so great for this small group, but that small group has all the power. So the small group's like, yeah, look how great this is, and they tell you how great it's going to be, but then you never get to experience it because the system then kind of disadvantages you, and now you are just fighting to keep up with them, and then they just blame you for your failure. They blame you for not being where they are. Yeah, they tell you
they're inherently better, obviously.
They're smarter, they're wiser, they blah 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 blah, all that other stuff, knowing deep down that the entire system is predicated on people, like working together and trusting each other, and they took advantage of that to get to where they are. Because that's what this is. Like I said, if I trusted rich people to make things that helped everybody, then I would be like, oh, great, robots, cool. Like the future is here, right? I do not trust rich people, and you see their actions now. You see their actions now, and they don't, everything. You see their viewpoints, and you're like, dang, they believe that, and they believe that because they're so rich, and some of them are rich and smart. So nobody can tell them what to do, because smart people are the hardest people to tell they're wrong, right? Because they're usually not. So the one time that they are can be so dangerous, because who's going to be able to convince a smart person that they're wrong? And they're rich. They're also hard to tell they're wrong, because they'll just you'll exit you from the premises. Like, you're not going to be able to tell them they're wrong.
And look at Maurice.
Nice.
I do. I approve that message. But
on site.
But yeah, that's the scary part, man. Like these niggas is really, they're shaping the future, and they don't care about the average person. They don't. So
not at all.
It's scary, man. That's what I feel about it, tech. But not for the reasons you think. I'm not worried about Sonny coming through my living room and killing me, and not having to worry about trying to shut down Vicky. You say what?
I still need to watch that. Sonny.
You've never seen iRobot?
Oh, no, I thought you were talking about the show that comes on Apple TV.
No,
it has the name Sonny.
No, Sonny is the name of the.
You talking about the robot?
Oh, is that a double
in iRobot?
I guess it was.
It's double entendre.
I haven't seen iRobot in years.
Yeah,
I couldn't tell you what happened except robot bad. Like that's it. That's all I remember.
It came on FX like a couple of months ago, and I was like, forgot this movie existed.
So basically, Will Smith was both right and wrong about his ideas of robots in the movie.
His robotism.
His robot prejudice was both correct and incorrect simultaneously, and so the movie actually goes nowhere in terms of theme and plot, because he's both right and he's wrong. Right?
Yeah.
So then you end up being
Shia LaBeouf was in that movie too.
And he was.
Yeah.
Shia LaBeouf was in that movie?
He always told him, like, man, just go, man, get your ass. He's like, get your ass.
Oh yeah, he was like the annoying. He's like an annoying little kid.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah. So in narrative wise, that movie didn't go anywhere, but it was very entertaining.
It was.
We ended up trusting the robots at the end, which I think is the wrong message.
We trusted the robots to go do their own. We trusted Sonny to lead the robots
Yeah, we trusted
to
in the.
go do their own thing.
Yeah, Sunny is now like the leader of the robots,
Yeah. But it wasn't it wasn't the model of same model as his. It was the older robots. The older robots came to help the humans fight the other ones.
They have to follow the laws, but
Right.
Sunny doesn't have to follow the laws. And they're like, and not only does Sunny not have to follow the laws, he's faster and stronger than all the other robots. And somehow we're left with this feeling of Sunny's in charge. We'll be okay.
But he learns, like he doesn't have to follow the laws, but he adapts them almost like moral principles. Like
somehow he's moral, which I'm like, come on, like really?
Because his creator was like, Sonny's different. He doesn't necessarily follow the laws to follow the laws. He follows the laws because he believes them to be a moral thing to do. Sort of.
Basically, Sonny had moral conviction, stronger moral conviction than any human.
Right.
And I'm sorry, we don't even know how morals work. There's no way you programmed a robot to understand them better than us. Like a robot will definitely understand the rules, but there's so many like logical fallacies inside of morality that a machine, like if you've ever tried to talk to ChatGPT about morality, you'll see that it does not understand. It doesn't understand it. It's predicting what it should say, and then you point out its logical error, and then it corrects itself, and then you point out the logical error of how it corrected itself. It corrects itself again. It doesn't care, right? It doesn't have any investment in it. So
ChatGPT is not as smart as Sunny.
As people think it is.
Yeah, it's definitely not capable of considering like you said. It's predicting what It's like, hey, what is the most likely next thing to say? Let's say that thing.
I mean,
yeah, exactly.
It's generative AI.
A good liar should.
Actual AI.
Like a good liar.
It's just generative AI. It's not actual AI itself. Like people don't understand that generative part. Like it's generating prompted like guesses based on what you say. Like people don't understand that.
But you know what? It's funny. You can see the bias in it though. When I did that, remember I did like the little demo site.
Oh yeah.
And the articles on that site are written by ChatGPT. I asked it some questions, so I wanted to know how it felt about Finn in Star Wars.
Oh Lord.
And I wanted to know if it felt he had a character arc.
Mm-hmm.
And then I asked it in the second article about racism, because I wanted to see if it felt like the way that they treated the character was a little bit prejudiced, in the sense that like a lot of times, if you're not from the community, you think just putting the community in the movie is good enough, right? So you're like, oh, okay, like we got a black guy in here. What's your problem? We got a black guy. He's in here. Look at all the camera time he gets.
Look at him.
He's right here. Look at him. He's funny. Look how funny he is.
Look at him.
Yeah, look how funny he is. The guy is just hilarious. Look at the humor, right? But like sometimes that's not enough because the character themselves doesn't have any development. So I wanted to see if it could
arc.
if it could distinguish that this is kind of along the veins of what we feel as black people. I wanted to see what it would say, and of course it answers in a very politically correct fashion, which is not how a black person would answer that. Which means it doesn't think like, at least it doesn't think like a certain type of people I know. It doesn't think like black people. Now it might not think 100% like white people, but you can tell that most of the training data is from the public, and the public is mostly like the people whose data is probably taken is probably mostly white people. Right? In terms of these social issues, probably white writers who've written about this, probably press releases from white executives, probably all of these things, like people who are invested in not seeming racist. So you're going to get politically correct answers, right? But we know that it wasn't a militant black man when it answered that question, which means it's not representing all the thought that's out there. It's generating, like you said. Like Salam said, it's just like, hey, what's the next best thing to say here? And it leans towards positivity. That bias is been programmed into it.
That's true. So what you're saying is we need to make a Blackie GPT.
Black GPT.
And make it to where it's
there it is. Take your idea.
It's not positive, or negative is not biased whatsoever. It gives you the real. Maybe you don't want to hear it. Maybe you need to hear it.
Listen here, my brother. That's how I want the prompt to start.
It's like, listen here, my brother.
Brother, listen here, my
Listen,
sister.
my sister. And it is like, it asks like, are you male or female or non?
No.
I do not prefer to say. Well, listen here, person of
color,
human race.
Listen here, person of color,
person of the human race. Let me introduce you the concept of not giving a fuck. like, I don't know.
But yeah, I think that, when I answered those questions, I was like, okay, well, it's obviously trying not to see racist.
You should have asked him about Mace Windu.
Trying not to. Huh?
You should have asked him about Mace Windu.
But the weird thing about Mace Windu was like, I know ChatGPT hasn't seen the movies. So it's not gonna, if I say, hey, what do you think about Mace Windu? It's gonna talk about all of the stuff that's in text, which is all the stuff that people have written, which is usually by people who aren't us.
So taking the books.
So even in the, but see, the problem is, my distinct issue with Mace Windu, if I were to ask it a question, is that Mace Windu in the books is much better than Mace Windu in the movie.
He probably would agree.
And in terms of like his impact on the story. So in the movies, he's just a stern black man staring there and standing in Anakin's way of becoming a Jedi Master. In the books, he has actual story backline. He has different powers from other Jedis. He's a little bit more impressive, right? In the books, at least before Disney got a hold of him and completely turned him
more well-rounded, so to speak.
Disney kind of reduced a lot of that, but before Disney, he had a lot of cool stuff that he could do that was specific to Mace Windu, right? Because
like that where he can use he can throw this lightsaber and go around him.
He's not throwing it. He's moving his hands that fast that it looks like he's throwing it. It's called the Vapad.
In the game, he just threw that thing.
No, he's so fast that it looks like he has multiple hands.
Oh,
that's why it's called it's named after a creature that has so many hands it has so many tentacles and you can't tell how many tentacles it has because it moves so fast. So yeah, no, he's not throwing his lightsaber. That's what I'm saying.
In Phantom Menace, it was so bad of graphics. That's how it looks.
Yes, that's probably what it was. He's so fast that because he's using this technique that kind of feeds on the dark side. It's like balancing the line of light and dark. But anyway, that's my point. That's a very nuanced thing about him that you'll never know from the movies because he gets less than 5 minutes of screen time, if you ask me.
True.
Right?
I mean, it's
even his fight with the Emperor is like 30 seconds.
It's like,
right? His fight with Jango is about 30 seconds. Right? Yeah. He has a lot of speaking dialogue, but you would be surprised how it seems more significant in terms of time than it is.
Yeah.
Because like it's like 10, 15 seconds, then you're on to another scene. Like you don't stay on the same long unless he has like a long like monologue, but he doesn't, right? He doesn't have he's usually responding to another character, right? So in that sense, I know ChatGPT hasn't watched Star Wars,
right?
Even if it looks at the script, it's not going to be able to tell me what I know, what I see with my own eyes is that Mace Windu didn't get enough love, right? And it won't tell me what I know about the Star Wars community is that he gets most of the hate, as if the entire issue is that he didn't make Anakin a Jedi Master and that's why Anakin fell. No, Anakin fell because he was on that path to begin with. There was nothing that was going to stop him from doing that. But get on Star Wars Reddit and see how many people hate Mace Windu for no reason, because there's a reason, but they replaced the reason that's in their heart, in their mind, with something like, oh, he did that. But you know why you don't like him, right? Exactly. Really, really powerful Jedi, also black, and you don't want to admit that, he can basically solo all of the other Jedi except for maybe Anakin. Oh, no, except for Anakin, and depending on which version of Anakin, because if you're Mace Windu's ability absorbs dark side energy and then reflects it back at them. That's why he was able to block the Emperor's lightning, right? Yep. So Anakin going to the dark side is actually a bad matchup against Mace Windu.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
Well, actually, and that isn't the people who wield the purple lightsabers. They train by doing both light and dark.
Well, he's the only one with a purple lightsaber in canon, I think. He's only trained one person in the
right, but I'm saying that
ones.
they were saying the different the different lightsaber colors based on the different traits.
Right.
Of how people, so like blue is like a Jedi Knight who
Jedi Knight, green is
learns
counselor.
green's a and
Yellow
purple and
is sentinel.
orange. Yeah, orange are like the Sentinels. Purple is the person who is like a gray Jedi who deals in both light and dark.
I've heard that, but I don't remember the material in which
like gold and white and like that's why Ahsoka's is white.
Well, see,
or is it gold? One or two.
Now I can take. You need to go to bed because I'm gonna say I can go on. I can jump on this Ahsoka thing and be gone for about 30 minutes.
I haven't seen
Ahsoka,
it yet.
by the way. No, I like
I
the
need
character.
to watch it.
I do not like some of the moves that Dave Filoni made, who was the guy who made Ahsoka. And I don't. He's kind of like one of the people in charge of Disney now. So I could really riff on Ahsoka for a long time, but we don't.
But all in all, we all agree that we need to make that
Black
maybe
GPT?
the next next product is Black GPT, brought to you by Blerdimension, and we just feed it all like nerd shit, like.
But it has to speak like a Hotep.
It has to be like Hotep. But it gives you like positive and negative based on the situation.
It has to give you culturally negative but Black or people of color like positivity. Like how like it has to encourage people of color but give you negative like a negative viewpoint of society in general. That's what it has to do. It's to both tear down society and build up.
So we're gonna feed it Black Panther like rhetoric. We're gonna feed it like Dr. Umar. We're gonna feed it, Black Twitter.
I mean, absolutely.
We're gonna feed it blurred shit. We're gonna feed it like
real quick,
Killmonger's scenes in Black Panther.
Yeah, Killmonger.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep. Maybe even a little Joker in there,
just a little bit.
Just
we're not like him. We're not like him.
You're trying to make Black Air Force energy
just a little bit.
You're trying to make a Black Force LLM. That's what you're trying to do. Like Black Force.
Like, that's the name of it. That's Black
what
Force.
Trying to do right now.
Black Force.
I'm here for it.
LLM Black Force. That's it. That's all it's gonna call it.
Let's train it on. Let's see if we can make an LLM model have Black Force energy.
Or call it BAF. LNM, BAF. There you go.
Chat BAF.
BAF.
BAF is great.
BAF is the model. That's what it's called. They'd be like, "What does that mean?"
Chat BAFE.
It's like, go ahead and use it. We'll see what it means.
Go ahead and use
it. What's your uses? I don't know. Just pissing you off.
You
virtually stepping on your new J's, letting you know that you ain't shit, never gonna be shit.
They ask it a question like, "Don't ask me this dumbass question."
Exactly.
like Bernie Mac, and his face pops up. Like, "Don't ask me that dumbass question."
Yeah,
never had no pumpkin pie, like type of shit. You ever see that skit from Def Jam Comedy? Or Def Comedy Jam, way back in the day when Bernie Mac first started, and he was like, what was the joke? He was like, "Hey Bernie, you ever does well, I don't want to say the word, but does this part taste like pumpkin pie?" He's like, "Don't ask me no dumbass question like that. I have never had no pumpkin pie." I was like,
niggas don't mess with pumpkin pie.
No, they don't make a pumpkin pie.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
Potato. Oh, you cut out for a second.
I know on purpose.
Oh,
I whispered I had pumpkin pie and I like it.
Well.
I mean, it's not sweet potato. I like sweet potato pie too, but I'll eat pumpkin pie. I will.
Well, it's clipped, so don't worry about it.
Pretty good. Pretty good, guys. Look,
I have nothing against pumpkin pie.
We gotta stop limiting ourselves. We gotta stop limiting ourselves.
Real quick, before we get too far from Star Wars, I did I started Andor this week. And I liked it a lot. And I wanted to know
like that. I've never seen
it.
it.
Was boring.
I refuse to watch it
I'm not
because
gonna lie. I
Oh
thought it
wait,
was boring.
why do you refuse to watch it?
I've already seen Rogue One, so like I really don't care about his character anymore.
Oh
Yep,
damn.
there you go.
He dies in Rogue One. Like that's
Oh,
that
that
was
dude that dies at the end?
that's Andor.
Oh,
He's
it's
Cassian
him?
Andor.
Oh, well, then
Yes.
I have to watch it now. I know what happened.
That's what I'm saying. Like I was like,
Damn.
I don't care about the spycraft.
Hey,
of
we all
Star
die
Wars.
in the end, guys.
I understand that, but we don't all self-destruct on a planet. Like
True.
that's special to him.
That's true.
We don't
Hey.
all get the first test of the Death Star thrown right in our face.
Right.
Like it just
I mean,
was like,
you make a
man,
point.
I liked his character, and I liked Jyn Erso's character in Rogue One.
Oh, wow.
And so their end is very tragic, right? And sad. I'm just like, oh man, I hate this ending. It's a deep impact ending if I've ever
I
seen it.
just saw that clip. Yeah, it is a deep hit. It's like when they were on the beach.
Yes,
Impact.
yes.
Yeah.
Deep impact ending if I've ever seen it. And I'm just like, man, these are the people I want to live. And there's some people I want to die in Star Wars. Don't get me wrong. There's some people I'm like, yeah, we could do without that character.
There's a bunch.
It's not those two. I would wish they would have somehow escaped and just been like chilling on a beach somewhere.
I thought they were. I was like, when I first saw it, I was like, damn, they about to escape. Yeah. I was like, wait a minute. This is about to get into like, oh.
Yeah, once you realize where it is in the timeline, you're like,
I was like, come on, man. I was like when they showed when they showed Darth Vader, I was like, oh, this leads into this one. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Once you realize where they are in the timeline, you're like, oh well, the story has to end here. Like
well, this is it for y'all. Game over.
Just like the guy what's his name played? Forrest Whitaker played in Rogue One.
Yeah.
That's where one of my beats with Dave Filoni comes from. So he's black in.
Didn't he show up in what's it called?
He's black in as RSV as Forrest Whitaker.
Mm-hmm.
He's black in Rebels. I don't know what he is in what's that one with the clone troopers? The most recent one. No. He's in Clone Wars. I don't know what he is in Clone Wars either.
Bad Batch. Bad Batch.
He's so inconsistent. They don't care about his ethnicity whatsoever. They just flip it to whatever.
I thought they were just seeing him as an alien.
No, he's human.
He's human? Oh, okay.
He's human. The reason he's wearing all that stuff is because he's a war hero, and he's basically dying. Like that's basically a life support suit.
Like a respirator. Like
it's a life support suit.
Like Darth Vader.
Exactly like Darth Vader. So he's dying because he's a guerrilla, like a guerrilla fighter basically. His name is Saul Guerrera. So like he's basically like the darker side of the rebel, like the rebellion. He's like the one who's like blowing up stuff, don't care if he kills innocent people kind of
extremist.
Thing. Yeah, extremist. That's exactly what he is. He's that arm of it. So he doesn't even really jive with the actual rebellion. He's his own outfit. But yeah, they don't care about his race at all, right? You scream bloody murder if you change the hair color of certain people in that thing.
That is true.
Then you have a black character who's black, and then something ambiguous, and then also something ambiguous. And it's because they just don't care about that character, and it just proves the point. It's like, oh, you don't care about continuity when it doesn't matter. Like canon only matters.
100%.
Yeah, so
100%.
And that's directly Dave Filoni because he was in charge of both Rebels. He's in charge of all three of those Rebels, Clone Wars, and definitely Ahsoka, and because Ahsoka, he made Ahsoka, and Bad Batch, which I saw the moment I saw that, and I saw that like, okay, you can have a clone trooper, like you have all these clones that are different. Somehow they're clones, but they're genetic mutations of each other.
Mm-hmm.
You have run the gambit of, first of all, the main clone is not a white person, right? Jango Fett's not white. Right? But all of the clones that mutated somehow get whiter and whiter and whiter and whiter and whiter. They don't.
Part of the mutation, AJ.
They just get whiter and whiter. Like none of them look like Jango Fett. They all look like either Rambo or some kind of character from any of these action movies that you've ever seen. And then the main character is this young little girl who's a clone. She's a genetic mutation of the clone, and she's the palest, whitest one. Right? Like so, it just like goes. So,
she is.
And it's like, but they're all clones.
The special force power that nobody.
I didn't know she had that because as soon as I saw that,
she had that special ability that none of the clones had. that
Right,
they were trying to take or implement into other clones or some shit like that.
But all of that to be said is that this character who was not white, right, in canon, they found these mutations of this clone, and none of the mutations look like any race except for white people. Right? They don't even look like a mutation of him, who was, he's a Pacific Islander, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Right? They don't even look Pacific Islander. They all look like white action heroes and a little white girl. And then you go, and in that same show, they create Saw Gerrera, right? This is after Rogue One came out. So they know what Saw Gerrera looks like. But he doesn't look like Forrest Whitaker. He just looks like some random, like, dark... He's got dark skin, but he's got very long, straight hair and green eyes. So it's like, he's not even... He doesn't look anything like... I was like, when they said his name, I was like, that's not the character that I saw in Rebels, and he's not even the character I saw in Clone Wars, which is different from the character I saw in Rebels, which is different from the guy who played him on TV.
I'm about to say, on TV, didn't he have, like, red eyes or some shit?
He had brown eyes, like a regular black person. Yeah. He was a regular black... He's brown. Forrest Whitaker without contact lenses in. He's just like without color contacts. He's a regular... Whatever Forrest Whitaker's eye color is, that's his eye color.
Because he was in the shadow and he came out and them bad boys popped. Like, they were... like, them things popped like he was a demon or something. I was like, God damn.
And he's supposed to be scary, like that's part of his character. But that was my issue. I was like, he don't care about black people. And then I look back at Clone Wars, right? And I'm like, Mace Windu's the only black character in Clone Wars who's consistently like there. How many episodes are dedicated to Mace Windu?
2.
2 episodes. Clone Wars has hundreds of episodes.
That was the raid that he did with the
on Ryloth.
Exactly. And then the second one was the one on the
him and Jar Jar Binks. Him in the buddy comedy where they had him and Jar Jar Binks, goofy Jar Jar Binks running around, and silly Jar Jar Binks and straight man Mace Windu.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is the only time. And Dave Filoni ran Clone Wars, so it's a track record for him. Yeah, it was Rush Hour, exactly. And I was like, that's to me the problem I have with Finn. That's the problem I have with all this stuff. Is that like you're just recreating stuff we've already seen us do.
Damn, now you think about it. Damn, that was Rush Hour too.
Yes, Finn was also Rush Hour.
And then the other girl, the girl that liked him, Rose, yeah, it was Rush Hour when they went to the casino planet.
It's always Rush Hour with us. That's my point. It's always Rush Hour, and Rush Hour worked because it was 2 minorities, right?
Yeah.
But it's always Rush Hour. What's Danny Glover's role in Lethal Weapon? He's Ophi. He's goofy. He's the old man who wants to quit. He's the comic relief. He's the one that Riggs is always playing jokes on him. He's the one who was sitting on the toilet, had the bomb inside his toilet or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's
even
the whole
with the show.
Yeah.
Even with the show with Marlon or Damon Wayans.
You're right. Exactly. Because it's always Rush Hour with us, which is why I asked that question to ChatGPT, because I wanted to see if they would make the connection, but they're not black. And their data is mostly still white too. Like their data is as whitewashed as if they were white, because most of the people who write about Star Wars are going to be white. Most of the people whose work is published and seen and viewed a lot, that's going to be used for training data is white. You're not going to get any black perspectives on Star Wars. You're not.
We should make a GPT, a nerd GPT that is across all realms.
But the thing is, how do you do that? Like, you'd have to curate it specifically, and then you're kind of getting away from it being general.
Yeah.
Right? So you're getting so it won't know things just because maybe black people haven't said it. Maybe white people are the only people who said it. That's still information we need. The problem
I'm saying if you feed it, well, and that's the thing though, it won't be able to distinguish like what's white, what's black, what's Asian, what's gay, what's bi, what's straight, this, that, and third. Like even if you fed it if you fed it Ta-Nehisi Coates, then you fed it Jim Lee, like how would he know to distinguish?
Well,
maybe not Jim Lee, or maybe Ta-Nehisi Coates and another writer. I can't think of any.
But I'm saying
Rick Warden. Like how would
he writing black stuff though? Ta-Nehisi Coates is so you would get some because it does know history. so it knows
Okay.
the things that happen technically. It can predict the thing it can predict the sentence with history put in, but it doesn't understand the relevance of it and the effect on our culture and the effect on specifically Black people, because even white people don't understand that themselves, right? It's why they can so easily say, why aren't you over slavery? It's so easy. It's why they can so easily say, hey, that was 400 years ago.
No,
and I'm like, no, it wasn't. It wasn't 400 years ago. It started 400 years ago. It didn't end 400 years ago.
It started and kept going.
Yeah, my mom. I was talking to my mom about that. About like the thing. She was like, I grew up before schools were integrated. Like I remember being bussed into white schools. Like I remember when that happened. That actually happened. But we talk about it like it didn't happen in our lifetime. Like in my
grandmother tells me about it all the time.
Yeah, me too.
And I think that's crazy. Like, you know, these things happen, but because they're, you know, it's far enough now that people can say, yeah, how's that affecting you? You can go out there and get a job. You can do anything you want to do. And I'm like, but you're removing the fact that people like to work with people that are like them.
Yeah.
So me just being different from you is gonna probably limit me on the jobs I can get.
Big time.
Yeah.
Because you just don't think we're similar. And then you might find out we're actually more similar than the white people you work with. Right? Like no one in my office can out nerd me, right? Like they get started on a subject and I just start going in on it. Like one guy was talking about Star Wars. They had no idea how much I know about Star Wars because I just read a lot of the content, follow all the stories, blah, 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 blah. I can tell them, they'll bring up a story and be like, I can't remember, and I'll finish the story for them because I know Star Wars. So I can out nerd some people in Star Wars. You wouldn't think that of a Black person because of the stereotypes and the tropes that we've had to follow. But that's what I'm saying. You wouldn't know that I might be more like you than the white person sitting next to you. But you're gonna look at me, see me as a Black person. You might see the way that I dress. No. I might wear a do-rag or a stocking cap at times on my head, right? But that does not have anything to do with the way that I behave, right? Like it doesn't turn me into a
full nigga in the office.
That's true. I don't wear it in the office, obviously, but I'm just saying, like, you might see me driving into work with my stocking cap on or something like that. Hang on my do-rag on so that my my head lay right.
Like the shirt that you wear right now, AJ. Like I wore a FAMU shirt, like all about Black Like I wore like FAMU, like
I wear a lot of
FAMU State of Mind. I wore that to work. You're like, oh, FAMU, what's that? So, that's my bro. But I wear like Batman shirts. I wear anime shirts.
No, I can't wear.
Even my coworker, he was like, "Oh, Jake, are you not wearing? Usually your outfits are so colorful." And I was like, "Yeah, no, man, I just want to die down today." He's like, "So, well," I was like, "Still colorful." I was like, "Yeah." So I still wear it. I'm with you, Edgy. Like I'm still like
we're more like them than they care to believe, but the way that they've seen us for so long is still so ingrained in the culture, and still the most popular thing we've ever done is hip hop, right? Like is what that's to the world the most popular thing we've done. When the people see Black people, they think hip hop most of the time for some reason. Well, not for some reason, for an obvious reason, but and that's where most of our culture kind of has like reached out to other people. So a lot of people judge us by that model, even though they know Black people who aren't like that. But all that to be said, ChatGPT can't see those things, and it'll never know it from my perspective because white people don't know it from my perspective, and most of its data is probably coming from non-Black people, right? Because there's not enough Black people in tech, not enough Black people in any industry, to be fair, right? That writes down and publishes information that is going to be consumed by this thing. It doesn't live the life of a person and take its own notes.
True.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying.
So would you say social media, like with social media and a lot of
that's
like
a terrible thing to train it on.
not just maybe not social media, but like seeing a lot of people who like RDC is one, like training them on like maybe not influence.
How does it get the context though?
That's true. That's a bad.
How does it get the context? Like if you watch RDC, they look ignorant too. Like but they're not. You can watch them, and if you listen to them long enough, you know these dudes are smart, comedic timing. Like the fact that they come from like they're not like trained actors. Most of them, I don't think any of them are actually trained actors, right?
No, they're not.
I think
they learned over time.
Mark went to college, I think, for psychology. I think I heard that in one of the streams.
Yeah,
right?
He went to Texas University or University of Texas. 1 and 2.
He went to some Texas school.
He went to the same school as Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Okay, yeah, I remember him
Yeah,
saying that.
yeah.
Right. So what I'm saying is, but he's not trained to write movies. He's not trained to do all this stuff. He's not trained in comedic timing. He didn't go up as a stand-up comic, but you can see they got the skills for that. They got the comedic timing. He can write. He can write stories. Obviously, they've been writing their own content. They've been writing their own skits.
They just did
stuff
a
gets.
digital fan movie that was
Yeah, I
actually
saw
really
it.
good.
Yeah, I saw it was really good. And so they done all this stuff without without even having direct like direct contact with this stuff. They just did it out the top of their head. But this thing is going to come in and flatten the person into the information. And it can't. What it can't do is reconstruct that 3D or 4D, if you want, image of the person.
Gives them a 2D
exactly,
and basic model of that person.
You
and
always. Data
sorry.
always flattens everything it looks at. Like data's always going to flatten it. And it's on purpose. You don't want all that other information because most of the time the other information is noise. That's why you flatten it. But unfortunately, this thing is trained off data. It's not trained off of the 4D image of a person. It's not trained off of like everything that we are. It's trained off of the flat image. So it can tell me my height, my weight, my blah 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 blah, right? And it can even probably predict some of my actions based on past events. But what it can't do is tell me my intentions. Or tell me what. Yeah, exactly.
Patterns. Yeah.
Right. It can. Yeah. So it can even if it can predict my actions, it still probably couldn't tell you why I actually did it.
Yeah.
Right. It can just predict. Oh, he's gonna do this now. Even if it got to the point where it can predict everything I was gonna do, it still wouldn't be able to tell me why. And so then when you ask it a question, it can't give you a why because it didn't have a why. So it can make up something, which it will do because that's what these things do. They just make up what they can't. Right. But that's why I was like, I don't want to ask it about Mace Windu. It's never seen the movies. And not only has it never seen the movies, it's never seen the movies as a black person. So there's still that because you might be like, oh yeah, I like the scenes that I saw of Mace Windu, but my favorite character is Anakin. So, and Anakin was the main character. So you got a lot of scenes of your favorite character doing what he's doing.
So it's all about perspective. And it's interesting, and we can end it after this or whatever y'all want to do.
I am going to call it now.
Light skin about to turn to a pumpkin.
What's the light skin version of a pumpkin?
A squash.
Yeah. That works. Good job, guys.
We did it.
We did it. And that's being clipped right about.
All right, Tech.
No.
All right, man. Peace.
I'll let you, brother.
But so Crimson, our good buddy, in the Blerd chat, he was talking about a movie called What's Inside. And it's a Netflix movie, basically. And I don't want to spoil the thing, but basically what happens is some shenanigans happen, and let's just say, well, we're all about spoilers in this movie.
Yeah, we don't care.
We don't care.
Spoiler warning to everybody.
Spoiler warning, yeah. So basically, it's this movie about this dude. He's like a genius, overall genius. He works at this company where he makes this device where they're able to switch bodies. And so he plays this quote unquote game to where people switch bodies and they don't tell who's in the body, and people have to guess who's in that body. And whoever guesses right, they pin their picture to that person so people know that it's that person. And if you guess it wrong, and if you guess it right, that person's out the game. If you guess it wrong, you're out the game. And so basically shenanigans happen, and like what happens is that it's like a roller coaster of like you trying to guess who was who, this, that, and the third. You kind of guess who was who because based on their aneurysms, what their behavioral patterns basically.
Yeah.
Like one girl, Shelby, she's scared of spiders, so her boyfriend knows when she shrieks about the spider, he knows it's her that is in that body. So all in all, it was all about behavioral patterns and how people act, how people, their desires, stuff like that. So people can tell who they are based on how they act.
Mhm.
And kind of with ChatGPT can't decipher that because it's like we said, it's generative AI. It's not actual AI to where it can think for itself. It's like,
Yeah.
I wonder why this person thought of this. And
Yeah.
then it goes back to, let's say, oh, I wonder why AJ asking this about, why would this be racism? Then it goes back to read history on of Black people, how people are treated, stuff like that, and be able to decipher like, oh, maybe this is the conclusion of why he thought of this,
Yeah.
and
Like
that
it
and the
can't
third.
reason, can't remember.
Yeah, can't reason, can't remember, basically. So I see what you're talking about, but it just funny how you said that and it brought up that movie
Mhm.
because it was almost like Guess Who in real life, like, except it was a lot wilder. Like the ending of the movie, I was like, oh, y'all completely fucked. Like, jeez, like
What's this
it
movie?
was like Clue. It was like Clue and and Guess Who, but it's on
Oh,
Netflix.
this was.
And even though I told the premise of the movie, you should still watch it. It was pretty good in my opinion.
No, it does sound interesting. That actually sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
As long as there's no like murder stuff that happens in the middle of it,
Right.
then I'm out.
About that.
Okay, yeah.
About that.
It wasn't murder per se.
that sounds like murder to me.
It wasn't murder. It was more
What
like
does that
If
mean?
it's
accident.
manslaughter, that's murder too. That's
Accident.
murder
That's
too.
murder.
No, it was an accident, and it was caused by the people who died. So
Okay. Still.
so it wasn't
But
really manslaughter per se, but
I just typed in to ChatGPT based on my previous prompts. Do you have any idea like what race I am? And it's like, nah, I can't guess it. So I don't know if that's just they're like, hey, don't answer race questions. Like if that's a thing that's kind of
possibly.
like programmed into it.
But we make it to where like, hey, based on this phrase, what race do you think I am? And then
I could do that, but I wanted to see because it does have some kind of memory functions now where it'll go through past stuff and kind of like. So I wanted to see if like maybe could it guess, based on my prompts, like a person would easily be able to guess.
or
Like
ask
from
it
what
based
I've
on
been
the school I
asking.
went to.
Well, I don't know. It doesn't know what school I went to. I've never used that in a prompt, but I've definitely used like I've definitely looked up things that were specific to Black people in Africa and stuff like that, and like to the point where it's like, yeah, you should really know. Like this guy's really interested in Africa. You should be like, I'm just gonna kind of guess, but it probably doesn't want to seem like a racist. Like, oh, you looked up African stuff. You're Black, and I'm like, how dare you? And then I sue Chat. I sue OpenAI. Right? So,
Yo,
how dare you guess my race? That's funny.
did y'all see this was a long ass time ago. But yeah, we can wrap up in a minute. There was like when they first started doing the generative like visuals, and they gave it this prompt, and it was like a progressive thing they did where they basically added in like more and more like negative traits by like social convention essentially. And like it was like this, it was like a white woman, and but like as they added more negative stuff, it was like, the background started looking fucked up. She got tattoos and piercings. Then she had a beard. I was like, yo, tell us how you really feel.
Right.
Like, what data did y'all train this on?
Yeah, like who says that tattoos and beards are even remotely related? Like, how does he get that idea? Like, it's somebody, who wrote that? Who wrote that in like some kind of published thing that they used to train it? Like, I really hope it doesn't use social media as any type of training data, other than to like what does foolishness look like, and then it's like follows. Other than that, I don't want any social media in there because people are their worst selves pretending to be their best selves on social media.
Remake unintentionally made Skynet.
I mean, I'm
I
sure.
don't know.
How do we know our society isn't being run by a secret AI cabal right now? How do we know?
It's like
They're trying
the
to.
show. What was that show on Netflix? Where the daughter and the father worked at this conspiracy agency.
Oh, the
And
animated joint.
yeah,
Oh, what was that called? I forgot what it's called. I know what you're talking about. She wears like a lab
yeah,
coat.
yeah,
It was a
yeah. And they were all
nutty
behind
show.
all the conspiracies
Yeah.
and running the
Let me see
country.
if I can find
That's
this.
hilarious.
It was, oh man, it was hilarious.
this
Like
thing
the
called?
whole lizard man thing. Like they showed Mark Zuckerberg, like they had like a lizard man like party,
Mhm.
and Mark Zuckerberg showed up and took off his suit and put it and they hung it up. I was like, that's funny. Or he took off his skin and he
Mhm.
hung up his skin like it
Oh,
was
I
like
knew
it
what
was a
you meant.
suit.
When you say zoo, I was like,
Oh
yeah, I
man,
know
I
what
was
you
like,
meant.
that's hilarious. And it was like the lizard men and the gray aliens and all the different like aliens on Earth, like
Mhm.
conspiracy, like it was hilarious. I was like, this is by far the funniest show I ever seen in my life. They also
I'm gonna
had
have to
one
find
where
it.
Leonardo DiCaprio
Mhm.
would date younger women at a certain age because because that's the only way he can get blood to stay young.
Yo,
He's a
what?
vampire.
Figure he was a vampire, and it was a cabal of vampires like
Oh my.
him, like all the young actors, like Leonardo DiCaprio. I think not Harrison Ford.
No, because he doesn't look young.
Um,
Aging gracefully, don't look young.
like Sylvester Stallone.
Mm-hmm.
All the like quote unquote aging gracefully, like they don't date after 28 because 28 is like the last part of the youth, and so they drink the blood of those are 28 or younger. So that's why they
Wow.
date. That's why all those guys date 28 and younger, so they can stay young forever. Donnie.
Glover?
Yeah, not Donnie Clover. Johnny Depp.
Oh yeah.
I said Donnie Depp.
Okay, I was like, the only Donnie I know is Wahlberg.
Got it. Right. He about to say Donald Glover in the hospital.
Oh yeah, I heard that.
Hope he gets well.
That.
Yep, same thing.
I'm glad he's prioritizing his health too.
Mm-hmm. Because he does a lot too. Yeah. He does a lot.
Yeah, he canceled the tours. He said we'll get. So I kind of saw that not a blessing in disguise, but I always wanted to go to this concert. So like, hopefully, after he gets better, I can go to one of his concerts.
Mm.
But hope he gets well.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. But anything else y'all want to talk about?
Nah, I've ranted enough about Star Wars. I can keep going. I mean, I think we need to do a
deep dive,
24-hour like stream, and I'll just rant like a filibuster. Like you seen that episode of Parks and Rec where where he what's his name? What's that guy's name? The actor's name? No, the actor's name. The short guy. He's he was in King of Queens. He was what's his name?
Oh, excuse me.
What's
Patton Oswalt.
Patton Oswalt. That's
Patton Oswalt.
He was the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, he was also an Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. So there's an episode where he has to filibuster like a meeting. And so he does like this whole rant on what he thinks the Disney Star Wars merger is going to look like. And it's ridiculous. And it's like he's doing it to hold up this meeting like for a very long time. It's such a funny rant. But like I would love to see if I could do like 24 hours of just like talking about Star Wars from start to finish and see how long I could go just ranting about all of my issues with Star Wars and all the things I love too. Because the reason it captured my imagination is obviously there's a reason why I'm so upset with certain things because it captured my imagination and it it gave me like this sense of wonder. And then when I saw that like I wasn't represented in the world, that kind of hurt a little bit. So that's why you get like a little.
Didn't deliver on some of them promises.
I forgot. I'm off next Monday. Yeah. This Monday.
Hey, nice. Oh yeah, it's IP Day, right? It's Indigenous Peoples Day, right?
Yep.
Coming up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, hey, hopefully I'll be
I'm
off
also gonna
also.
watch this show called Resball on Netflix.
I haven't heard of that.
It's about a Native American high school basketball team,
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
and they're
interesting.
facing off. One of their players gets killed,
Oh,
and
damn.
so like everybody like says they're not gonna win like the championships or whatever, and they start playing what they call Resball. So they start like saying different plays in their native language, and start playing like they're playing on a reservation.
That's
So
cool.
I was like, oh. And the same girl who plays the coach actually was one of the sheriffs in Dark Winds, and she was actually really good in the show, and she's very beautiful too. But
Actually sounds pretty good. I might check it
yeah,
out.
it looked
Yeah, I
pretty
just
good.
added it to
So I
my
saved it
watch later.
to Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
It's a cool little movie.
I'll probably
sounds
watch
like.
that over the weekend since we got Monday off. Thank God.
Do I have
Oh,
one down?
I will say.
Well, some
I
people.
hope so. I think, but I think it's
better
one
say-
of those
you better
holidays
say
that
you
they
indigenous people.
It'd be like, nigga, bring a blood test. Like, what you talking
Say,
about?
look at that, 20% Native
Hey,
American.
hey, look.
Hey, he's like, oh, what
There's-
tribe you with?
You never
Seminoles.
know, like especially with former people who are children of slaves. You never know what you got in there. I might have
right.
a little bit in there
Hey,
somewhere.
just say you a Seminole, you be good.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's true.
Seminoles are black. Like, people don't realize Seminoles was black slaves that ran away.
They said that about a few tribes where they were like black tribes that black people ran away and then they
and made their
pretended
own.
to be Native Americans so that they would be left alone.
Yeah. But when in actual respect, they were descendants of Native Americans.
And
They
that
just
happens a
made their
lot.
own tribe because the tribe that they would come from were so distant, and they didn't know of, the relatives who were part of that tribe. So
No, I could tell you this: the Seminole that does the like whole
the
thing at
spear,
Florida State,
yeah,
don't look nothing like a black
no,
person.
no, nope, white as shit.
He looks like he looks very stereotypical, I guess, like
Yes.
of what
Yeah.
like we would expect a Native American to look like.
Yeah.
But of course, a lot of that is for the pageantry of the activity he's doing, where he's doing a war chant and he's slamming a spear in the ground. So like it's kind of thing. But
and that's why they changed from that the Seminole face to the spear, because people are like, nah, that's not a Seminole. Like, that's not a real Seminole.
what they're doing it because it looks racist.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they're saying it looks racist. And
No, but I'm saying, like, I thought just in general, you don't want to be associated with those like Blackhawks, red, or the
Commanders.
Redskins.
Former names.
Yeah, we're now Commanders.
Commanders, yeah. Which
you don't
they
wanna
said
be
they
in there.
wanted to bring that back. The people
What?
of the people of that tribe.
Well, the Seminoles get paid.
Yeah, the people that Seminoles get
They
paid.
get paid for that's the school uses their name, but the tribe gets paid. They don't. It's not just you're not using their name like without their permission or anything like that.
So
Well,
the
that's
people
good,
who's because the face that they use is one of their I forgot his name. I don't know if he's not a Navajo. God, was he Apache? I think it was Apache. I can't remember, but basically that person that the face they use on the logo was of their tribal leader, and they said that they want it to come back because they was actually exposing his face out there and actually like giving, and they're like, it's like, what?
It's about this. You can use his face, but
that pay up.
That
pony
professional sports team money is different.
Yeah, pay that money.
Use my face if I get paid for it.
Hey, listen.
Shit, right.
Right on the helmet.
Absolutely.
I'll take it.
AJ is like
the New York AJs.
even AJ Nelson is down with it. He just ding.
Yeah, right on there. I don't care. Just send a check.
Send the check.
Okay, make sure you got my address right.
Here's your 60% cut.
Yeah, just send the check, man. That's all I'm saying. You can use my face as long as I get paid for it.
Shoot, all the damn JK moving trucks and JK landscaping I've been seeing.
Just like, do one of these.
Shit, I'll be like,
send a picture out. Tell them they can use it.
I'm like, I'm gonna need some money for this. They'd be like, what are you doing? JK Smith. Yeah,
there's
so I'm gonna need to send me a little check.
A lot of AJs too.
There is
AJ this, AJ that.
Check for all of them.
All right, we need to find a lawyer, JK, and see if there's any precedent for us
suing. Yeah, subpoena. So like, hey, we need using my likeness. So, but this is not a black company. It's like you got a black
it is
name.
now.
It is now. You got a black name. I know another JK. He can get some. He get some money for it too. He play football with me.
God damn.
Y'all just make feels like, man, you're not really JK. Your last name's not a K. I was like, but my middle name is.
I'd be like, look, the lawyer would be like, my client has been using the name JK and has signed the name JK on
since
several
birth.
documents and start bringing all these documents out.
Since birth. Like I've been using the name JK since birth. So you can and when did the company start? Oh, 2012. Oh, really? So sounds like a little check need to be cut, my boy. All right, well.
I will say, I don't know if I'm gonna ever watch like the original Star Wars joints, but I was watching Andor. I see a lot, like the universe is very interesting, and I see a lot of stuff that I've seen elsewhere, and I'm like, oh shit, this is where. I mean, I'm sure modern Star Wars has also been influenced by other stuff that's been made since the first joints came out. But I think really impressed by like how much stuff that I recognize from other sci-fi that I've enjoyed.
Yeah, it's not Star Wars in its feel, which is why I think a lot of people resonate with it instead of just Star Wars fans. So it's a spycraft show. So then you can borrow from everything because it's the future. So technology is kind of like you can play around in that area. There's a lot of space, right? And Star Wars is the kind of where it's like, even though there's a lot of technology, it's also like the whole galaxy is so large that people can still live like farmers and have advanced technology, because it's just like you can't afford to have all the greatest stuff because the galaxy is so large. You can't afford to have a spaceship just because it exists, right? Like the people who make spaceships live on this place and they charge a lot to get and you might not have a resource that they want to trade for or whatever.
Like Lamborghinis right now. They exist.
They exist. I can't trade for one, I can tell you that.
No.
Damn can't.
So yeah, I can understand why people like it. And a lot of people have told me to watch it, but the reason I didn't watch it was because for me, like what I was most interested in Star Wars is the idea of, like I like the warrior tales in Star Wars. And spycraft to me is a little bit like, especially Cassian, because he's a very complex character, which is very different from Star Wars. Is not typically about they're flat characters. The Mandalorian is very, very predictable, very, very stoic, very whatever. All his character traits, all the cool Western character traits that he's playing on. But he doesn't change into anything more nuanced than that. Not really. He has a little bit of a thing where he becomes basically a dad to Grogu. But that's the growth that he has is really just that. Everything else about him stays the same, right? Luke Skywalker really doesn't change. Anakin Skywalker doesn't change. Ahsoka doesn't really change. Like these characters
change it eventually. I mean,
they learn something and so they grow, but the core of their character is why you like them. So that never changes, right? Cassian's not that. Cassian's core is very rotten, right? And and as the story goes on, I saw like the first episode of Cassian, or maybe like the first two. But I think the reason I did, and I might go back and watch it just because I hear it's good, but it's just like it's spycraft and Star Wars. And I'm like, this is the part of Star Wars where I'm like, I felt like Rogue One did a good job. I gotta watch more of this. But I mean, I hear good things.
I think I'm interested to see if they're like if the rest of the stories have similar settings. Not all of them, but you know.
Gotcha.
No, I get it.
I think that's the part that would keep me watching something that's not necessarily great or to my taste. What were you about to say, JK?
I'm saying so like Lando and Han Solo movie and stuff like that.
That was a bad movie.
Bad movie. Okay.
Bad movie.
Never mind.
I wanted to like it. Bad movie. They did this thing that they always do where it's like they take a character who's not a good guy, right? Lando and Cassian have similar like backstories, right? And they make him a good guy before he's supposed to be. Like they just make, oh, he's just got such a good heart. No, who said Han Solo has a good heart? He develops one throughout the first trilogy.
First three, yeah.
But before that, he was a scoundrel. Yeah, like you can't take him and make, oh, he's a scoundrel with a heart of gold. That's not his character design, and that's not what we said about him. He's just a scoundrel. Now, does he have a heart of gold? Yes. You discover it in the
Leia brings it up.
Exactly. As he interacts with Leia and Luke and the rest of the team, and the fact that he saved Chewbacca, you know there's something good in there. But you learn that in the story. But if you give me a prequel and he's same guy that he is in the sequels, like, or in the original trilogy, then it's like, well, the growth, you don't get that growth. You take away what he actually gained in the movie. So it's like it was all weird where he was like a good guy and he just kind of like got to difficult situations because of X, Y, and Z, because he was like kind of like a dreamer and stuff. I'm like, this isn't a scoundrel. Like, he's not doing any scoundrel-like behavior here. Like, everything he's doing is motivated in positivity. He's just getting screwed at every turn.
Yeah.
Now, he definitely should get screwed at every turn. That's part of his character, to get into trouble and get out of trouble.
Yeah.
But he should be more like Cassian, where he's not necessarily morally aligned with who he is at the end of Return of the Jedi.
True. I agree.
Yeah, so that's what that was, and there was a lot of stuff wrong with that movie, but I think what was really wrong with it was the thing where you like kind of try to do that thing where you're like, oh, he's the good guy, so he has to be the good guy. Like, no, he's the main character. He doesn't have to be the good guy. Like Ocean's 11, they're not good guys. They're not. They're criminals.
Thieves.
Now, do we hate the other guy more than them still? Yeah, he's also a criminal. He's just legally a criminal, right? He's ruining people's lives too. He just can do it because the U.S. government doesn't say it's crime.
Right.
But that's why we like the criminals better in this sense, because they're stealing from somebody who we don't actually like and who we think doesn't really even deserve what they have.
So would you say like Jason Statham's character in Beekeeper, was he a good guy or was he?
I never saw Beekeeper, but I know the premise of the movie. I have to see the movie to say whether he's a good guy or a bad guy.
I would say he is a weapon.
For justice?
He's a weapon for justice. He's a weapon for balance. Okay. He's a weapon for balance.
Well, then that automatically makes you not a good guy.
You're right. Like, cause you're pretty much Deadpool at that point.
Yeah, and Deadpool's not a good guy. Now, he is a good guy in the movies because Deadpool breaks all the rules, and that's what makes him entertaining.
Right.
But
in the comics, he's not a good guy. He says he's not a good guy.
Yeah, he's not. He's not a good guy.
He's a mercenary. He does what the highest bidder tells him to do.
Yeah.
And sometimes based on what it is.
To do it.
Yeah. If he doesn't want it, like if they like, I think Dr. Doom hired to do something. He's like, I don't want to do it. And then he went off and did something else. I can't remember. And Doom was like, "You're gonna do it, or I'll do something XYZ." He was like, "All right, go ahead, do it. I don't care. Like, I'll just come back."
Damn.
And so, but no, I just asked that question because like there's a lot of movies that have the same nuance of a person is seen as a good guy, but he really isn't.
Yeah,
Like,
the perspective characters always kind of feels like a good guy.
right, like that movie, not The Hitman. It was with Natalie Portman. She was a kid, and John, I forgot his name, but it was like the Frenchman or something like that, where he was like an assassin and he was teaching her how to be an assassin. You know what I'm talking about? It was when Natalie Portman was like really young.
I feel like
Yeah.
I've heard of this movie, but I don't. I know I haven't seen it.
Okay.
But I
Well,
feel
it's
like I've
kinda-
heard it referenced before.
Okay, well, it's kind of like that, and there's other movies like that. There's also Polar, where a ex-assassin is getting hunted by former assassin or current assassins.
John Wick is
by
a perfect
this.
example. He's not a
Yeah,
good
John
guy,
Wick. Yeah, John Wick.
but we call him a good guy because
He's going
when
against the
way we're
organization.
introduced, the way we're introduced to him in the story makes him look like a good guy. He's
Yeah.
actually the baddest bad guy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
He's the
the boogeyman.
he's
They call him
he's a
Baba
boogeyman.
Yaga.
But he doesn't like. He only does things that are in his mission criteria.
Yeah, but like we don't know what.
Well, but we don't
he
know what
did
that is.
before he became the
true.
guy who cried over. Who went to
Cried over the
kill these
dog.
people over a dog in a car, like and that soft side of him, right? We don't know when that became part of him because we enter in. He's already retired. He's already tired of doing it. He's already like no longer doing it. And the only reason he's safe is because of the things he did to get there, right? The only reason he's not being chased down and murdered and people are leaving him alone is because he made some deals. So
he made a deal that he would take out an entire organization that was going against the Russian mob or whatever organization he was with.
Right,
And
but those probably not the only people he murdered though.
But
that's what I'm saying. It's like he's an assassin. He's not even a mercenary, right? He's an assassin. So like his job is to kill people. That's automatically going to be a moral, like a gray area. And then not only is it a gray area, but he's not an assassin sanctioned by like the government or anything like that, where you can say,
he's by a secret society assassin.
Secret society that's doing it for the interest of others, secret things which are and those interests are not for the betterment of mankind. There's no positive arc in what these societies are doing. They're doing it for themselves and for money and for whatever they want to do it for. So it's like you can't. He knows what he's doing. He's obviously competent. He's obviously smart. He's not brainwashed.
Right.
But yeah, so John Wick is like the perfect example of somebody
he was doing it for revenge. And then he do it for survival.
Yeah, but regardless of why he did it, he was a bad guy. But we start the movie off after he retires from being a bad guy. Like the fact that he was a bad guy is what makes his character so imposing on screen. Like it's the things that the other characters say about him while he's not even in the room that make you think, oh shoot, John Wick is that guy.
Yeah.
Because somebody's like, wait, you just messed with John Wick? Wait, John Wick? Like, no, wait, John Wick. That's who you mess with? That's how, you get that thing where it's like, oh, shoot. Yeah. And then they start to... Exactly. So, that's what I'm saying. So, his evil deeds make him... are what kind of paved the way for his, air quote, good deeds. I don't even know if what he's doing is morally good. It's still gray.
I mean, he's taking out other assassins and other people who try to kill him.
But his impulse... his reason for doing it is not morally good. It's at best gray. Because if he's doing it for self-defense, like you got into that world because you killed people, and then you stayed in that world to kill people for money.
Well, did they ever say how he got into that world?
I don't. He by the end of it, he was not being twisted. He was the scariest person ever. Like he retired when he wanted to retire, but he sure as heck got back into that world real quick.
He got back into that world, with no problem.
And had no problem. And then he at the end of the movie when he was like, this is all over a dog, right? Which is sad, and I understand why you would want to, take a terrible person out for doing that to an animal that did nothing to them. But at the end, he had a chance to, or the first movie, he had a chance to stop everything. If he would have just not killed that man in the Continental, he could have caught him slipping some other day. No, he was like, no, I'm going to get what I want right now.
Second movie.
Oh yeah, second movie. Okay.
Second movie, where like the first movie he could have stopped after he killed that whole entire mob.
But I think didn't somebody came after him in the second movie, right? That's why he started.
It was the brother of the head lead of the New York New York section or division or whatever, and he had a blood oath to where he had to follow that person's assassin order. Regardless of who it was, he had to follow it. And after he finished it, then he was lifted from it. But from him doing that caused him to be a bounty because his brother retaliated by making him a target after that. Even though he really didn't kill her, she killed herself. But he was there. And he told her what was going to happen. So he was blamed for it. Because she slit her own wrists.
But did she do that because he was in the room and he was going to have to kill her? She didn't?
Well, she knew what her brother was up to. And she did it for him because she knew once he did it, his blood would be gone. But she also knew that she asked him, "Is this what you want?" And he's like, "I have no choice." He's like, "Veronica, I have no choice. I have to do this because it's a blood oath, or whatever that little blood, whatever that thing was." And she's like, "Okay." And so she slit her own wrists, and he held her until she died, and that's when the guards came in and said that, "Oh, somebody killed her," and they blamed him for it. Because that's when Common's character, Common was her protector, and that's why he fought in that subway. Remember? Yeah. And he was like, "Oh, I could give you."
Even take down John Wick at 40%. Common, how dare you?
Right. And he gave him the option.
Out of a building by then. He was stabbed several times.
Right. And remember, he offered him a drink. He's like, "Oh, sorry." He said, "No, thank you." He's like, "Oh, it's a courtesy, to offer a drink to whatever for business." He's like, "Oh, no, thank you." But then he met in the subway. He said, "I have a knife in your heart. And out of courtesy, I'm not going to remove it. But it's up to you what you want to do afterwards." And so he left the knife in his heart. He was just sitting there on the train because he couldn't move. If he moved, he died. Like so.
Yeah.
But
disappointed, Common.
But yeah,
I really
but that's an interesting topic. Like the whole concept of how we see
good and evil,
and how we see certain characters we think are good, but really they're actually morally bad or bad guys in moral aspects.
Yeah.
Like even like serial killers, like people like gratify serial killers like crazy.
Yeah.
Like
Dexter, the whole Dexter thing.
Dexter, Jeffrey Dahmer on Netflix. I was like, y'all are fucking sick. Like, what is wrong with y'all? And even serial killers in movies like Jason. Girls like, oh my god, Jason's so hot. Oh, but I was like, what is wrong with y'all? Like, this man is the undead.
So many things.
Like, this man is the undead, and you like she's like, oh yeah. I was like,
strong silent type, I guess.
That's everybody got it tight. I was like, okay, tall, dark, and undead. Okay.
Tall, dark, and undead.
All right.
Yeah.
But yeah, Suave, put a pin. We should probably a real pin, Suave, not the one, not in the heart, like in a place where the actual topic survives.
Do that. I would
absolutely.
Never do that.
He's not. But I put a pin in that clip. That's what it's gonna be clipped. Okay. But
yep.
I digress.
Yeah. Oh, Suave. Take us out.
Yeah, we never did the intro.
We did not doing it. I realized that like 20 minutes in. I was like,
cold open.
Yeah, hey guys, welcome to Blerdimension. It's your boy No Slinja. We got your boy Negrito Suave. We got your boy Beast Eternal, and we're out.
Yeah.
There you go, AJ. Is you gonna take over and do the outros front now?